what you know about. What you know about. What you know about. What you know about.
Go on, get it! Pentakill for Sun Prodigy! I was forged for this, I rise in flame. Top of the mountain in my veins, got to make with nothing. Guys to the grave! Quadra-kill, but so what is the Spirit of the Nine wins?
Is still alive! Who is the first to fall? It is Card Effect's First Blood!
The X connects onto the Hades. Down he goes.
On, able to take down 2, able to take down 3.
Adding them up, keeping them there, and it's a pentakill.
Hello, Smite Game! Welcome to the Olympus Smite League. We're gaming, it is Athens Division, and it's the Olympus Smite League on Smite Game. All things that we're going to explain, but the players, they couldn't even wait, just like we couldn't wait to get to the action, so we're right into picks and bans for our first matchup of the day, which is Kitsune versus the Eternal Vanguard. And while all this is going on later tonight on the Olympus Smite League Twitch, you can also find more games happening, and that's just kind of how the amateur leagues work. The Olympus Smite League, if you just now are learning what it is an amateur draft league. So all these players were drafted to these teams. They did not pre-make it. This division, Athens, is the highest ranking division. So you're going to see names you recognize and some that you don't. Maybe you recognize the two names on your screen right now. I'm Malum. He is Mort. We've got RedRosiePanda on production. Mort, the Olympus Smite League is on Smite Game. Not the first time it's happened, but the first time in direct partnership with Hydra with a cash prize for Athens Division.
A lot on the line for today. I'm sure that, I mean, some of these players, not just, us here as casters, but we've got some nervous players here too. I mean, think of mine, you're on a much grander stage than what we're used to. The OSL Twitch. Obviously, you've got some fans over there, but we're on Smite Game here. So odds are a little bit, higher as far as nerves and mentals might be a little shaky. And keep in mind, this is the first game of the season. So this is the first time that, aside from scrims and practicing casual queues, whatever, that all 5 are playing in a truly competitive set. So that definitely also shakes up things. Have these players begin to bond and begin to create chemistry amongst each other, or are there still some rocks in the rough? But we'll only find out once we get in the game. But before then, we've got picks and bans to look at.
And you make one point that you've already made that I think is really cool. So naturally, with the addition of cash prizing to Athens Division, which again is the highest division for OSL, and you're going to hear me explain OSL and the divisions a lot today, so just get used to that now. But hey, why not? There's lots of ways to join and play, and there's seasons that happen very quickly, so it's worth explaining. But because of the cash prize, naturally players who hadn't played before joined up and wanted to get involved because cash prizing. So to Mort's point, you've got players like BennyQ, Founder Series, MVP, Champion, land stage experience against players who, again, Mort, to your point, have not left the comfort of their own gaming chair in their own house with their own Cheetos. It's that level of comfort versus the experience. You're mixing and mashing with new teammates, trying to find new synergy. You're playing for orgs like Kitsune and Eternal Vanguard, who have been organizations in the amateur scene for years now, dating way back into Smite 1. It's a really cool combination. And of course, as we mentioned, we got right into picks and bans because the players were pretty excited, but then they remade lobby so that we could all be on the same page. So we'll have picks and bans right now, right on cue. That was magical. Rosie's the GOAT. We have our first ban, Mort. It's going to be a Neath. What kind of bans are we expecting, but maybe looking further ahead? What kind of picks are you looking for?
Now, one thing that really shakes things up, in my opinion, is that we've got some of these players moved around from their usual roles. Now, obviously, you were there in Vegas, and you saw BennyQ was the MVP for mid laners above all. But BennyQ is not in mid lane. Duduin's in mid lane. BennyQ is moving to a new role, so Duduin can play in a little more comfortable role of his own. So I'm kind of wondering, is it worth Duduin moving to mid and then letting BennyQ jungle, so maybe BennyQ is in a more impactful role, or is Duduin just really not comfortable in jungle? Like, we need to have BennyQ in jungle. I mean, I guess we're only one way to find out.
Now, that's a really good point. Another thing interesting about it, too, is even on the other side, right? You look at somebody like Hydrogen, who I'm so used to Hydrogen playing ADCs and playing Jingwei in particular, so seeing Hydrogen support, kind of wacky. But Golden is somebody who has so much experience in ADC, and I suppose the same should be said for Tito. So it's that mix and match and jumping up of roles. Now, for Benny, somebody who it's a lot of the strength in mid lane comes from the mechanical skills, so at least a little bit's going to transfer the jungle, even at a base level, right? So I'm excited to see what picks come out. Do we see things like, I don't know, maybe an Aladdin prioritized, trying to get Benny on something that has already been a sort of hybrid flex potential character? That's the sort of big question of the draft, but the draft is going quick, Mort. Already a few characters selected.
Okay, so I'm seeing on Eternal Vanguard, you've only got 2, right? You got Ullr, Eset, but these are both very single-target gods. When it comes to Eset, you're going to have a hard time hitting 2 or more gods with her stun. So you're looking for a single target. Who is the highest prio? Who is their president on the team? And who am I looking for, right? I mean, that's really what it is. You're looking to take down one single person. Ullr's kind of the same way. That stun with his axe only hits one god. So you're looking for who the most impactful person is and looking to take them out. And that's probably because, I mean, we talk so much hype about BennyQ, and he really is him. BennyQ is obviously like an extremely talented player, but how far can he go with multiple players on the side of a Vanguard gunning for his head?
That's a good point. Kind of, do you end up getting focused stronger? And that's something I know we've seen already through the. I was watching some of the Golden Apple, and I feel like I heard Gore and Bobby talk about this, but we saw a lot of focus get put on Paul just because Paul was in the game, which actually sort of slowed down somebody who's obviously seen as one of, if not the GOATs. But this is a new kind of environment, so that is something that sounds almost. It sounds silly to talk about because these are all high-level players, but it's still worth considering. The ones who aren't as accustomed to being in a lobby like this might see a name like BennyQ and say, okay, that's our target priority. That's who we are running down. But a couple interesting characters get locked in. I feel like I haven't seen a Mordred in quite a bit, but we haven't gotten to see Neja in quite a bit because Neja only just got added to the game.
Yeah, Neja just now getting into Smite 2 and has been on a kind of a rougher spot. I think that the devs have kind of been hearing feedback about how a lot of gods that drop immediately into Smite 2 just come in, busted, slamming numbers, cranking damage like nobody's business. But I think they wanted to go for a little bit slower of an approach. I mean, we don't want to have to drop a god in just to nerf them, and then they don't feel as good after a while, right? I think it makes sense, you know, we want a god to be good when they initially drop because it kind of just sucks for your favorite god to finally hit Smite 2 and they're underwhelming, right? But I think Neja's kind of been in the middle. Some players are on the fence, not as good. Some players, okay, she's pretty good. But a lot of that is because of her aspect, which makes her a bruiser rather than an assassin like most people are used to saying Neja.
Right.
And is a very, very strong assassin at that. But based on the comp that we're seeing, she might be in the jungle. I honestly think she's going to be without aspect because Herc solo, super strong right now. Guan Yu support. It's got to be Neja in the jungle for BennyQ.
I do wonder, because if you take Neja into the jungle, one of the things that makes Neja makes him such a strong character is sort of that flexibility. I've always noticed, like Neja is somebody who, especially in Smite 1, it was so strong in support. But I'm with you. I really only have seen it in jungle so far, in the ones I've been watching. This, especially with a lot of the changes that got made. So a lot of options as to where that could go, but we'll have to kind of see once we get in game sort of how that gets played out. The Guan Yu Hercules combination is also sort of interesting, seeing both of them together. I'm interested on how that can work out too, and kind of what goes where. Hercules, I feel like I went weeks without seeing Hercules even mentioned, but now getting very quickly picked. But we're about ready to go into game, so a lot of our questions, Mort, they get to be answered quickly. A quick start up here today. Our first game of our best of 3 about to be underway as we head on to the battleground of the gods.
And here we are. One thing you mentioned is that Herc hasn't been around as much. He just recently started getting a lot more traction because they buffed his passive Apotheosis. He gets a lot more protections from that, and he's just going to be so tanky. Even if you don't build him that tanky, he's still going to be pretty tanky. If you do build him tanky, he's going to be unkillable. And due to the amount of crowd control that he has within his kit, 3 hard CCs is going to be extremely hard to ignore if you're a member of Kitsune.
It will be indeed, and you and I will be able to kind of see and catch up on what's going on here in just a moment. ADC has also been kind of fascinating the last few weeks. I know on Smite Prime a few weeks ago when we had the North American Conquest Tournament, I was surprised at what was getting prioritized in ADC and sort of how things were bouncing back and forth. Today we've got the Uller kind of going against that on her, which is a combination that feels old school and classic. I know you got to do the European Smite Prime, so you got to see a bit more further on of an advanced meta as we can now kind of see the action in front of us.
And here we are. A lot of low health bars coming out of the gate. Look at everybody on the side of EV. A lot of low health bars and even lowers Hydra.
The jump in. Golden trying to get that first blood, but did he step too far? The shell comes out in response, now trying to get Golden out of dodge. Hydra re-engages, the up-down disperse for Tito, no good. Now Tito in trouble. The stun hits too, and they trade again. Kitsune started on the back foot, almost lost it, gained it back, couldn't lock down the kills, in their jungle. BennyQ finished the job, looking for a gank, stepping up, finds both of them together. BennyQ gonna look for the fight early on, gets the damage on Hydrogen. Will he fall? Yes, he will. First blood over to Kitsune and Tito.
Good news, Kitsune is able to pick up first blood. Bad news is both of their dual laners have lost relics. This could be an easy gank from Suki, shows up and takes him out. They both got, well, Shell for Hydra, Aegis, oh no.
The Duduin, oh no indeed, pulled back, the Aegis already burned, trying to fight back, does have a level advantage on at least one of them, turns the corner, can't hit the Strife, still stuck now against the wall, but backup's on the way in the form of Herkadirk, but the Duduin might get derped on, he does! Shadow finds the kill back, but now the Hercules here, the dash, the stun, the Aegis in response, but I've got rocks and you go down. Second kill for Kitsune.
That's a big rotation from Remakami right there. Way to read the map and make sure that your team is still 1 kill up. It might not mean too much. I mean, we're still extremely early on, but to make sure that Shadow doesn't just rampage throughout the jungle and take out more camps after taking down Duduin, that's a really big thing. Making that rotation and keeping Shadow from farming the jungle is a very, very, very strong point to make, because BennyQ is now able to clear up all his left side after showing up left and then go back over to right and stay ahead and make his way just in time for Firebrands, which will spawn in about 3 seconds. And Firebrands are going to be a massive objective, especially when you have a couple different hybrid scalers on the side of Kitsune.
BennyQ saving Duduin there, getting some pressure back, and now maybe even getting a kill. There was so much damage from BennyQ so early on. Now, the Smite community, we're one big happy family, especially on the side of content and the community now competitive scene. You, for Smite Prime, did a video on Neja. So after these Firebrands, I want to hear a lot about this aspect from Neja in particular. But first, we're Naruto running and missing BennyQ, but on the comeback, can you get him? No, the Aegis from BennyQ will save him from some more damage, but you still have to get away. Double stun out from the Hercules, slowing things down, but BennyQ just cannot escape. Shadow with the kill. A great attempt from the Herc to save his jungle, but not going to be enough that time.
Wow, okay, so even though Mordred missed the ult, he was still rewarded with the kill. Do they go back and double dip on Remakami here?
They have damage on, they have the slow, but Remakami, as you can see, a little bit unbothered. So just kind of going to jump around and enjoy the damage in solo.
Yeah, it looked a little close for a second, but I guess because of how naturally tanky Herc is, there's just no way.
For sure.
Herc also has Blink up as well, but an ult coming out here in duo.
Oh my goodness, they won't stop fighting. The ultimate out, the spears hit Hydra with the last hit. What a combination from the aggressive duo lane of Kitsune. One day we'll get to hear some analysis, some breakdowns. We can hear about the nausea, but these teams just want to fight so far.
Well, I'll get to that, but ult again? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's feeling it's been a really hectic early game.
Is that a Thanatos?
And a lot of that too. Apollo running in on a chariot from out of the map. I mean, there's just so no, but a lot of this early pressure stems from the starter changes that showed up last week. You can build any starter on any god now, just about, and a lot of these players are opting for early aggressive options like Warrior Zax. It has been nerfed a little bit through hot fixes, but it's still a very strong pick. That's why Garfield, Shadow, even Hydra, who's playing Guan Yu support, also opting for this Warrior Zax. It is so good as far as early game pressure goes. It's almost undeniably the strongest pick, but we still see some other pickups as well. One thing that shocks me a little bit is the cudgel for Remakami. I did not expect to see jungle starters, aside from maybe a couple carries here and there, but on Remakami and solo, that's definitely a bit of a shocker to me. Can't wait to see what he cooks up with that.
I also find the Tito starter pretty interesting, kind of alongside those class passives too, sort of kind of doubling up on that extra gold potential, and I guess not feeling forced to go the Warrior's Axe because your support has gone the Axe. What an impale combined with the ult, the insta-stun, and Hydrogen is breathing no more. Another kill for the duo lane of Kitsune.
We just saw Hydra ult. He's back on the horse again, able to hit one more stun, following the pillar pin, locking down Hydra once more. I mean, what are these cooldowns? I feel like I've said that a couple times recently. The cooldowns are just absolutely wild as the Moonlight phase is upon us, and so much blood has been spilled before this point. Now there's actual objectives to fight over.
I know, I can't believe we're already 6 minutes into game number 1 of this best of 3. It's been so quick so far. Moonlight phase, I feel like that's become such a backfoot discussion. It's been around for a bit. Still cool to see, but what I've noticed, especially kind of watching streams the last couple of days, is even more attention is now being put on that capture point in the mid lane, because it feels like, as you just touched on with the starters and the changes to passives, there's so much incentive to fight and utilize some of these new tools that why wouldn't you group up on the capture point and put so much attention to it?
Yeah, and a lot of these gods that you're seeing here will utilize these starters pretty well. I'm a big fan of how Vyye went for the Sands of Time, so you can just spam abilities as Merlin.
Remakami.
Oh,
could be in trouble. 2 onto the gank at the blue buff. Remakami is a Hercules, so you can survive a lot, but how much? With that little mana, not very long. Shadow, 3rd kill of the game for the Tsukuyomi.
And blue buff going the way of Garfield too. I mean, Remakami's having a bit of a rough start. He made a good rotation early to make sure Duduin doesn't get completely shut down. BennyQ's fighting over.
Up into the air, we're hitting mini games. BennyQ not going to miss that one on the land down. There's the combo. Goodbye, Shadow. You get some kills and you get payback instantly from Kitsune.
I feel like Hydra's been a part of like half the kills that we've seen so far. Yeah. Hydra has been everywhere around the map, and the horse mobility really favors that.
Now fighting for that capture point in the mid lane. Hydra with no ultimate, but it seems like they won't need it with the kind of pressure they're forcing out. Benny not going to hit that sash. Could have been dangerous if he had. But so far, at least, the point is favoring Kitsune.
I really love this Guan Yu pick from Hydra. I haven't got a chance to talk about it, really, but he's got a lot of cooldown reduction through his aspect. Conviction gives you lower cooldowns, so you and all your friends, no way!
You might need the cooldowns. Piercing Moonlight going to be piercing Hydra's face. He goes down. That gives a chance for EV to get back on that point. Can they grab it, though? You still have to fight through some damage, but no more rotations are coming for Kitsune. So with just the 2 members, it looks like they will concede the point. Will go, no, the order team actually gets it. Kitsune able to get the point, and they get a big strife after. Can you find some picks? The up ball from downtown won't, yes, it does get a kill. Vyye goes down. Hell of a play from Kitsune.
Holy crap, that was a snipe from Duduin right there. The golden apple flying all the way to the tower. I was shocked to see it connect, but Hydra's on the horse again.
And the horsey is indeed trampling. Duduin's picking up another one. Shadow will fall. 2nd kill for Duduin. Hydra continues to be everywhere. Kitsune is starting to get rolling, up to 7 kills. Couple thousand gold, why not get some more? With the first Gold Fury attempt of the game, is there a steal? No, there's not. Kitsune, with their first Gold Fury, their gold lead continues to grow.
Yeah, high hopes there from Golden. Maybe an Axe could have stole it if it were well timed, but that's super hard timing, and that's 1,000,000 to 1 chances. And we've all seen the Avengers. We know that the 1 chance is possible, and that's why you're there, right? But just didn't look too hot for him, and it is what it is. But the snowball really starting for Kitsune right here. I don't think that EV is rolled out by any means, especially through the means of Shadow. Shadow is definitely starting to get online a little bit. Piercing Moonlight is starting to hurt, and as long as we can manage relics on the side of Kitsune, Shadow can keep using Piercing Moonlight to inevitably just deal damage, and then start killing members of Kitsune and develop this snowball. I mean, he's 4-3, which doesn't look
is back
too...
online. I'm sorry, I looked over. He just used it.
I'm telling you, what is like a 30-second cooldown? I mean, it's like it's worse than Rozold. I mean, he's able to get on the horse all the time, and you've got so much mobility through it. You've got an AoE stun. You can throw some damage out as well. Hydra can make so much of an aggressive impact, not to mention the support you get utility from his conviction. There he goes.
Yeah, making use every time it's up. Why not use it? This time it combos again with the pillar. The stun is good. The damage on Hydrogen. He's going to fall for sure. Just who gets the hit? It's Tito. Killing spree for the Onher.
You know what I'm just now thinking about too? So both Guan Yu through Talo Assault and Onher's passive both melt Fizz Prots. There are literally no protections left for any enemy gods. Oh no.
Yeah, Golden's going to need Divine Intervention. Gets the jump away, but the Disperse the follow, followed by the Impale. Damage is going to hit. There's the stun. Can you bring him down? You've got backup from Duduin, and Golden will fall. Kitsune is just clicking everywhere right now. Maybe an answer in solo from EV just to get something on the board. Remakami will certainly fall to the 3. Gold Fury not up for Kitsune to get, so something in the pockets of the Eternal Vanguard.
And Firebrand's after, but you do see BennyQ rotating over to maybe steal them away, but 3 members of VEV is going to make it pretty hard for BennyQ here.
Yeah, and Benny reads the situation and starts stepping away. Does have backup in mid, and I'm sure Hydra has ultimate in 2 seconds, so it's good backup to have. Yep, it's up.
Oh my god, there he goes again. I think it's due to that first item he got the Chalice. I mean, that's super helpful as far as, I mean, that's 20 CDR off the rip. Relatively cheap as well. You get so much CDR so quickly. He's had Chandra's Grace for quite some time now. 20 CDR, and you get even more so whenever it's Moonlight time. So it's just crazy how low his cooldowns are. Constant healing, constant horse time. I mean, it's a rodeo here on the battleground of the gods.
Yeah, big time rodeo. I'm very familiar with rodeos, as you can tell. The stun out, ultimate from Hydra. I'm shocked. Hydrogen trying to find some kind of answer, but gets smacked in the face with an apple, then brought to the sky. On the landing, dude's good as dead. BennyQ with the credit on the landing from the ultimate. But now Benny in some trouble, able to try to survive for the meantime. Aegis used, but just too much CC. Benny does fall back. But here's the answer from Mordred, too. To bring one up in the air, it's Hydra. They want revenge on the horse. Can they find him? Duduin answers, but Garfield sticks through and Hydra will fall. Former teammates swing in there. Shadow focused by Remakami, but Remakami's got to back up from Garfield. There's the strife, the damage on. Remakami wants to aggress further, goes for the knockup, can't find it, but has backup. Duduin still hidden like a truck. Tito here, too. Tito stunned a tower line, has to jump away. Duduin will follow. And the fight will slow down, and we can call it a fizzle now, but not before bloodshed in the mid lane.
I know we've said this already, but what a bloodbath. 11-7 already. So much killing happening, and this catches me off guard a little bit. Like you said, I casted the EU Conquest Tournament for Smite Prime a little bit over a week ago, and the EU playstyle is a lot slower, I guess. They tend to farm, and, you know, we go for kills every now and then when there's something worth fighting over, but BennyQ's kind of just walking at people. The Duduin's just throwing abilities, even if there's no target. He's just consuming mana just to consume it.
Yeah, it can consume, right? Thank you. I needed a belly laugh for that one. I feel like I earned it. Tough day, you know.
Belly laugh.
Stun out. Oh goodness, Shadow. What happened? Gets bouldered, gets auto reset on the 3 there from Remakami. So a little bit styled on. Eternal Vanguard looked at the Gold Fury, but they're gonna end up not committing to it because of how quickly Kitsune can rotate around. It's kind of understandable.
Okay, so no real objective after that. Firebrand's definitely helpful. It's been kind of 50-50 Firebrand-wise between Kitsune and EV, so a couple hard hitters on each side.
No.
We're diving mid lane tower!
And the tower's almost dead, and I think Hydrogen just realized how tough of a spot they were in. The tower needs one more hit, and it's dead. Benny goes for the sash early. Now up into the air goes Hydrogen. When he lands down, there's going to be combo back. There's the combo, but he's not dead. Instead, Garfield's here. We'll bring Benny up into the air, but do you have follow-up damage? So far, the answer is no, but starting to stick with it. Garfield's trying to make anything happen for the side of EV. Can they group up and find any of that damage, or will the rotation from Kitsune happen first? And Aegis to keep Benny alive. Garfield's still sticking with him, but Benny's still not dead. In the back line, Shadow will find Duduin. Benny will not die, and Garfield's committed far. He has to get back to the squad now, where Kitsune will resume that chase and more. I don't know if I love this for EV. Garfield now caught. Hydra steps up, has to dash back. Remakami caught. Lurking around the side of the wall is Tito. Maybe there's an opportunity, but Kitsune look like they're trying to call off the fight.
I don't blame him. I mean, there's a bigger fish to fry, and that fish's name is the Moonlight Queen. We need to go over there and take down the Queen Naga so we can get that permanent intelligence buff. And it looks like a couple members of Kitsune realize what time it is. 15 minutes into the game means Moonlight Queen's here. Let's make our way over and take that down. Nobody from Eternal Vanguard's even thinking about taking that. Looks like they'll go for the Constellation prize known as Gold Fury. Maybe Tiro could take that instead?
Did you say Constellation prize? That's heat. That goes so well with the theming.
Yeah.
That's good. That's real good. Order team, being Kitsune, does indeed get the Queen Naga. And you know what's crazy? You said it before. When I heard 15 minutes, I triple checked because I can't believe we're that far into this game. Now 16 minutes. There's so many kills. It's going to continue. Gold Fury is at half. But look at all the jerseys and mix and match. The ultimate from Garfield's going to come out, combined with the circle of protection up in the air. An apple gets thrown out too. Did that apple connect? Looked like it did. A lot of damage on the BennyQ's head, but he's still standing, at least for now. EV grouping up. Gold Fury let go. BennyQ dead. Kitsune will regroup. Eternal Vanguard did take a lot of poke, but Remakami potentially could go for a gank on this rotation through mid. And EV will read the room and back up. Kitsune onto the Gold Fury now. It's at half. EV want to try to get the steal back, but now Remakami's here. You step too far, you're in danger. Garfield and Hydrogen up. Hercules spotted, stuns out. Garfield is in hell and can't get out. There's the boulder. Can they get it? Vyye will get the Gold Fury for Eternal Vanguard through all the members of Kitsune.
Oh my goodness. But the fighting continues from there. Garfield walks forward. He's looking to maybe get some damage off before retreating back, but Eternal Vanguard can't find a way to initiate this fight. So instead, they'll throw some damage away. And, you know, it really showed dominance because that is exactly what they wanted out of it. Like I mentioned earlier, constellation prize for the Moonlight Queen is Gold Fury. It looked rough for a moment. I honestly thought for a moment that both teams were going to walk away and nobody was going to take Gold Fury, which is best case scenario for Kitsune there. But Kitsune tried to rip it right in the faces of Eternal Vanguard, even though it is true Shadow did go back to base and then came back at a later date. But now Kitsune get Moonlight Queen, they get the Gold Fury, and this control point here in the middle going to give them the Moonlight buff as well. Just so much going the way of Kitsune right now. That's why they've got a 3K gold lead.
The only thing that surprises me is that it's only 3 to 4K, considering how much fighting we've seen and how much it feels like the fights have gone Kitsune's way. I think that's the craziest aspect for me so far. It does kind of make me wonder, like, what's the answer going forward for Eternal Vanguard? Because clearly things aren't going terribly. Hydrogen playing a dangerous game, though, as I say that. Pyro pulled, Kitsune on the way, and Hydra leads the way with the horse. Can he find a stun? No, not quite.
That was close, though. That was very close. And he did zone away a lot of EV, but not enough time for Kitsune to melt this Pyro down. It's at 2K health, and around the corners, a couple members of EV.
Pyromancer has almost fallen. It will go down. It goes to Eternal Vanguard. How about the fight, too? Already, Duduin forced up and forced out. Piercing Moonlight to finish the job on Duduin. Stun after from Remakami, trying to bring down Shadow, but it's going to be no good. The rest of Kitsune needs some backup from their tanks. Eternal Vanguard see that. They press forward, but Golden got left behind, and Golden's going to get popped by Tito for a rampage. But the answer back from the grave, Golden able to handle Benny, and now Eternal Vanguard see their opening in the choke point. They step forward, looking to bring anyone down, but they walk right into CC, and they might get answered back. Remakami and Hydra, they've got a horse and they've got boulders, and they'll step forward looking for what they can find, but Hydra can't find a stun, but a knock-up, a pushback, a stun. Can you kill anyone? They have all this health, but not enough damage. A boulder too, it even banks, but nobody's dead. Eternal Vanguard still standing. Kitsune can't find the kills, despite all that damage and all that CC. The apple will hit, but it won't bring anyone down.
Just throwing out of no way, lands a combo right after.
Duduin's
Duduin's not giving up on this. Bloodthirsty players on the side of OSL. This is crazy.
BennyQ around the corner, pops Garfield. It was worth it after all.
Oh my god. So Eternal Vanguard has been zoned out entirely. I guess the chase was worth it because now Fire Giant's getting taken down by Kitsune. 3K health. Nobody from the side of Vanguard is even around.
Down it goes. Duduin with the Fire Giant credit. BennyQ had the ult. And now we're stepping forward some more. Remakami, knock up, dash. It's working out. Mort, I think Kitsune are setting up for what could be an end push. EV will lose another member. This time it's Hydrogen. Now the kills are starting to get staggered up. It's only getting worse.
And it looks like they're going to push this wave up middle. Dagger in hand for Tito. They've got a lot favoring this push. They've got crazy structure damage, especially thanks to Tito. This tier 2 tower in mid's going to fall quick. Burn like hot butter on a stovetop. Tier 2 on left side could be next on the chopping block.
Will we ever slow down? The pace of this game has just been ridiculous. It threw me into a coughing fit 2 seconds ago. It's been so nonstop so far. I feel like the play that we're seeing from the front line of Kitsune is just so cohesive with the rest of what Kitsune wants to do this game.
Dude, I honestly don't know how the tempo slows down and still favors Kitsune. I think that they've got the lead, and they've shown, hey, we can take a lot of these fights. We can pick individual players as long as Remakami keeps hitting these knockups, as long as there's still a response from Duduin and Tito, then it's all going to work out in their favor. No need to let off of the gas pedal. Eternal Vanguard need to farm and slow things down as much as possible, but Kitsune is not going to let that happen. Solo kill over in duo side. Actually, it was Hydra and Tito just going all over Golden.
And while I understand, trying to get any farm you can get for Golden, it is tough to get soloed off there. I guess the best news in that instance for Eternal Vanguard is Kitsune are not going for the siege, at least yet. So Golden would be up for any potential Phoenix siege, but definitely for a Titan siege if things get out of control. which I say because with how this game's going, you could blink and they could be inside your throne room.
That's true. I mean, they are definitely just keeping aggro there. But I think Fire Giant was mainly meant for, yeah, you get a little bit of extra gold. You do get a dagger in case things get too crazy. But we really want another Gold Fury, so structure damage will melt a little bit easier.
Oh my god!
Whoa!
That's gross! Remakami with the baseball, gets the home run, steals the Pyromancer, and Turtle Vanguard. I can hear the sound of 5 desks being smacked.
Broken desks all on the side of Eternal Vanguard. Guess they're going to have to surrender because how do you play afterwards? Kitsune pressing on this left side bird. They've got all the tools they need. 90-second Fire Giant buffs. They've just got another Gold Fury. A Runic Bomb not picked up, but a dagger in hand for Tito. Here they go.
Hydra's got ult. Kitsune's played around that the whole game. There it goes. Instantly stuns 2. The apple will ricochet and find a target. LordGarfield's trying to do anything to slow down this assault from Kitsune, but so far the success, it's not there. There's one, though. Golden's able to make Remakami pay for stepping so far. The 4 remaining members are plenty tanky for Kitsune. They get the Phoenix. Can they find a kill, too? You see that damage on the Garfield. If he goes down, that's a lot gone for EV. Shadow falls first. Garfield had to go back to base. Can you find Tito, though? Yes! Double kill, though, for Duduin through it all. Kitsune's making it all happen and trying to end this game in the throne room. Duduin is hitting like a semi-truck right now and will not stop. BennyQ is able to find another through it. Duduin standing in their frickin' throne room, throwing ads with Eternal Vanguard. He finds a triple kill in the throne room. One more to go. It's Garfield and Kitsune onto the Titan. And this game is good as done as Garfield falls deicide. Kitsune will take the game. The Titan will get 1.
Wow. Just wow, dude. Doing slamming numbers. I mean,
Wait,
32.
wait, no way.
Oh! We're still in!
I'm gonna be sick.
No! We were so close!
I thought it was done. The fountain damage that BennyQ took, is that going to be the difference in this game? Are you serious? Eternal Vanguard literally on life support, and it turned out the doctors had a Glock the whole time. Kitsune die at the Titan to the Titan. The Titan just team wiped. Make a plays of the week and put the Titan on it. Eternal Vanguard remain in this game thanks to an NPC.
So I don't know how to. I mean, they could have just pulled the plug. Like you said, life support is the perfect way to describe the situation that Eternal Vanguard are in. They could have pulled the plug, but they said, let him breathe a little bit longer. We're not done with our prey yet. So I don't know what they're planning to do with this so-called life support victim. This is not looking good, dude. This is not looking good at all. Maybe there's a chance that Eternal Vanguard can fight for this fire, but look at the item differential here. It's pretty heavily favoring Kitsune right now. We're not seeing any 3K pots just yet, but it is definitely looking rough for EV here. I mean, in the way that Kitsune are just continuing this momentum, levels in favor of Kitsune as well. They can easily take another fight anytime they want to, as long as the numbers game is at least even or favors Kitsune. Eternal Vanguard's best bet is to isolate one member of Kitsune, like that's ever going to happen. They've been constantly grouped. They've been constantly together since what, like 8 minutes? I mean, you've been calling team fights since like the first Gold Fury.
I know, it's why my throat's already betraying me. But more, nobody's gone back to base for a minute for Eternal Vanguard. There's got to be fire minions coming soon, right? Okay, now we see them go back. You notice they go back in a hurry. That makes me nervous. you can't play many games right now. Your Titan's got like 5 health.
I mean, I guess so. Yeah, you got to watch minions here. Left side bird is the only one that's down. You just got to keep your eyes there. But that Titan had, what, 1,000 health when we last looked at it?
So, yeah.
It's now getting burned away. Eternal Vanguard, all 5 members around the corner here.
They're throwing a Hail Mary more. They're going to look for the Fire Giant. I guess they think that's their only way back in. Garfield leads the way with the ultimate. Finds one. Brings him in the air. When he comes down, they've got some combo damage. Not going to be enough. Kitsune fight back. They follow Hydra, trying to save Remakami, who's already fallen low. EV have to still watch their base. Their Phoenix is about to be up, but they'll lose it to minions quickly. You see the back starting to be channeled. They have to deal with just that. They have got to save their Titan. The Fire Giant will be focused yet again by Kitsune. EVs do indeed save their Phoenix, but the Fire Giant's down below half health. EV still have a presence. Can they get this fire away? Can they get the steal to save their game? In they go. A boulder for the answer. 2k health on the Fire Giant. Down to 1k. Garfield's right in front of it. Duduin gets the Fire Giant for the side of Kitsune. Now the fight back's on. EV losing health quick. Same thing for Kitsune. Vyye is stuck. Vyye is dead. Remakami with the hit. Garfield could be next. Remakami will find him. Sets him up for the squad. Tito puts him in the dirt. Hydrogen will fall next. Stuck between the pillar and a hard place. Double kill for Tito. Kitsune, march on.
Okay, so I'm a little hesitant to think that this is game over here. Last time Kitsune got into the red zone, they settled for a field goal instead of a touchdown. But maybe they can finally put some big points on the board here. Middlebird being burned down as we speak.
It's going quick. You see Hydra ready to step up already, sharing the aggro of the Phoenix. They'll be plenty healthy for the siege on. The Titan has healed, mostly to full. Kitsune into the throne room. They have to deal with two. The damage back, the ultimate out. Shadow is going to fall quickly. The ult was to kill Tito. Wait, no, Shadow lived. Caught in the fountain. Shadow's dropped. The Titan will be next, and Kitsune make it happen. They almost fumbled. They picked the ball up. They ran 99 yards back to their own end zone just to run it back through and win the game in the end. Game number 1 goes to Kitsune. The Eternal Vanguard will lose it. My goodness gracious.
I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better game one. Let's be completely real. That has had all of us on the edge of our seats since the first minute when Hydra and Tito were almost killed immediately. And then it just kept going from there, kept going. I mean, you were there. Just one more fight after another. BennyQ shows up to left side. Now we're looking at solo lane. Now we're looking at Firebrands, Gold Fury, Fire Giant getting pulled like right after it just spawned at 20 minutes. Like, it is wild how much aggro there was, how much pedal to the metal type play style was into this game. I cannot wait for game 2.
Huh. I mean, sheesh. So, well, like I said, Smite game. This is Olympus Smite League. It is a draft league. This is the Athens Division, the highest division. Cash prize by Hi-Rez, and I think, you know, you see why Olympus Smite League has the support of Hi-Rez. A heck of a game to showcase just what this season has, what this partnership can bring. What a year for esports so far.
Waiting for someone all of their life. And when I was getting lost, I found you. When the night turns to day and the moon starts to fade, will you be there? Will you be there? When the sky starts to rain, will you run? Will you stay? Will you be there? Or will you be there right when the love runs out? World turning upside down. Not gonna let you go. Keep you close. Thousands are in the crowd. Minutes are counting down. Promise that you won't go. Right when the love runs out. Right when the love runs out. Millions of people look for the light, dancing around like stars in the sky. And when I was in the dark, I found you. What if the lightning never strikes? And when the rain stops, we'll be dry. When the sun begins to rise, I'll find you. When the night turns to day and the moon starts to fade, runs out, world turning upside down. Not gonna let you go. Keep you close. Thousands are in the crowd. Minutes are counting down. Promise that you won't go. Right when the love runs out. Right when the love runs out. Right when the love runs out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Olympus Smite League. We continue on with our day. We still have a game number 2 in our best of 3 between Kitsune and the Eternal Vanguard here on week number 1 of the Athens Division on Smite game for the Olympus Smite League. Kitsune took game number 1 in a back and forth, barn burner, bloodbath, arena match, all the terms, North American match, all the terms you could think of for when fighting is nonstop in Smite. I'm Malum, he's Mort. The Olympus Smite League today, production ran by RedRosiePanda, is a draft league. You can scan that QR code in the corner to join today, to be around for the next season and any tournaments that might pop up in the short term. But it's a community-run amateur league now partnered with Hydra, where this division you're watching today, the Athens Division, is playing for cash pricing at the end of a long season where they're all drafted onto new teams every season, run by community-ran orgs and captains. Mort, I think I hit the cool stuff of OSL, so now we can talk about the cool stuff of game number 1 we saw.
And part of what I think the only thing you might have forgot to mention is that Athens Division is the tippity top of the totem pole as far as players go. A lot of these names that you'll see, you'll recognize from Smite Prime, where you might have seen Malum or seen me or seen both of us together once, every once in a blue moon, right? So, but yeah, there's a lot of phenomenally good players here that put on a show, and that's exactly what we saw in game 1. Was a lot of the best players, which I was kind of shocked because we talked about this during picks and bans. A little bit of what we're used to seeing BennyQ in mid. We're used to seeing Hydrogen in carry. Now we're seeing Hydra in support. We're seeing BennyQ in the jungle, and it causes, I don't want to say any issues, but it causes some different types of playstyle that we're not used to seeing from these players. Seeing BennyQ as a jungler is way different than seeing him as a mid laner. You know what I mean? Same thing with Hydrogen. I feel like he kind of went, I don't want to say non-existent, but Hydrogen is a player with pressure as a carry, right? But as a support, he kind of went under the radar a little bit. We call it a lot of names, and Hydrogen wasn't really one of them.
And a lot of that seemed to be with the focus that Hydra and Tito put on Hydrogen throughout the game. How many times did we see a Guan Yu stun into a pillar, into an impale into Hydrogen, seeing the world through black and white? It felt like we saw that not just in the early game and laning phase, not just in the mid game during team fights, but we literally saw that be the thing that killed Hydrogen at the end of the game. So they had a game plan from moment 0 to deal with not just Hydrogen, but the E-set problem in general, because the E-set was just a non-factor. So that's a character I wouldn't expect to see back just because of the answers that we saw Kitsune have for it. Unless, of course, you try to ban away the answers, but are you really going to put 2, maybe even 3 bans just so you can play E-set and support? I feel like you wouldn't do that.
You know, I think it was how you say it. The pillar pin followed by the Guan Yu horse. It was so picture perfect time after time. I am like imagining in my head it's Tito and Hydra in jungle practice, like with both playing Honor and Guan Yu is like, all right, we'll set up on this totem right here, and then they practice the whole combo like over and over and over.
It's coming through.
Yeah, it's just so funny to think that like this is something that like. Okay, so
it's like you forgot what casting with me was like.
Dude, it's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute. I'm glad to be here nonetheless, though. It's always a good time with you, man.
Well, hopefully game 2 is as good of a time. Maybe a little bit, maybe there's some pacing in between, so we can hear your analysis. I tried to shoot you a promo, and we couldn't even dive into that.
Dude, it's like, you're like, that's a nice video, and then the ref swats it down. The ref's getting involved, and I can't get anything going here. No momentum on my side. It's quite all right. We've got a whole game ahead of us. We got
actually, you know what, more? I have middling news. So the mild news for at home is we are having a quick lobby reset. But the good news is, because I was given a choice for break, I'm going to choose to stay, at least for now. And I'm going to give you a chance to promote what you couldn't promote before, because the community leagues, we're all intertwined nowadays. We're all friends here, right? We have Olympus on Sundays, Athens Division from here on out on Smite Game. On Saturdays, we've got Smite Prime. Mort and I both also work with Smite Prime, and Mort does content for Smite Prime. Mort, why don't you tell us about some of that content and use some free airtime? Floor is yours.
Oh, that's what you're talking. Dude, I was like, what am I supposed to be promoting here? Like, I feel like he threw me an air ball. I didn't even like see the ball in the air. Okay.
No, yeah,
so,
you were like I tossed you a basketball and you were looking for a football.
Yeah, I'm like, like that's all we do for basketball. It's been a minute. I've been off the field for quite some time here. So here's the
Anyway,
thing. No,
please.
you're throwing me a ball here. And I do like this, the click. That's WWE there. I don't know if y'all knew that one.
Yeah,
So
I threw you a ball and you hit me with a steel chair.
Yeah. All right,
so Mort
Smite
does
Prime.
content for Smite Prime.
Right, that is a true thing, right? If we're gonna take up ad time here on Smite Game to talk about me, hey, I'm all for that. So I do videos that talk about how to play specific gods. So if you're a newer player that is, you're looking to learn the game of Smite, it's quite complicated. I've been playing Smite for 6 or 7 years, and I'm still bad at the game. So if you're looking to get better, tune on over to the Smite Prime YouTube. I drop videos on there, and I work with Jithens on how to play specific gods. One thing that Malum mentioned is I dropped one on Ninja right after he had come out into Smite 2, and how his playstyle is a little bit different with the aspect of the Righteous Flame, which makes him a bruiser rather than a typical assassin that you're used to seeing. You get enhanced critical damage throughout the game, which is one of his plus ones. He's got a lot of hard crowd control, but also crits with multiple abilities now instead of just his basic attacks. So Nija's usually this, super hyper you're super aggressive, quick damage, easy time. But now you've got Nija with this bruisery playstyle where instead of getting movement speed, you get passive healing. And instead of enhanced basic attacks, you get a big cone attack, slam your spear on the ground. Like, there's like a couple of different things that change about Nija. And seeing BennyQ pick that up in last game one's matchup, it took me a little bit by surprise, because I don't think he went for a very how do you say this? Like a tank. He built kind of tanky, but he didn't play very tanky, right? He was pretty deep in for a majority of the time. He was, in the back lines,
right, causing
havoc, a bull in a china cabinet, some might say. But I guess it was just Duduin that kind of took over the spotlight and made it hard for me to notice.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But it does feel like it does feel like BennyQ had the mentality of going that build by trying to play further up, kind of in the thick of things, including in the fountain, as we saw with the failed end attempt, unfortunately, which was kind of wild to see.
Yeah.
But on top of the content for Smite Prime, there's also going to be stuff for the Olympus Smite League on Saturday nights on the Olympus Smite Twitch, and that's Olympus Smite for the Twitch. You'll also see the Associated Press, which does predictions and the like for the week of games that they have. This is week 1 for all 4 divisions that the Olympus Smite League has to offer. Matter of fact, if I scroll over here to my handy dandy other monitor, I can tell you tonight at 6 p.m. on twitch.tv/Olympus Smite, you can actually watch the Sparta division, which is the second highest division, one below Athens in the Olympus Smite League. That'll be on the Olympus Twitch. Same production person, shout out to RedRosiePanda, that'll have Not a Valve Game and Jay Turner casting it. So if you want to see more of what Olympus has to offer, you have options there to kind of keep track through and keep searching. Now, Mort, you've cast with me a lot. When this isn't a technical issue, just to be clear, this is a lobby reset issue. I usually give it about 3 pass back and forths before I give us something to go off topic about. That's kind of my thing. I've done a professional broadcast. I've been slapped on the wrist for it. I'm always okay with it. Today, I'd like to introduce you to something. Have you ever heard of a Jillo?
No.
It's a jean pillow. It's
What's
a
the
pillow
catch?
made out of jeans.
So what's the downside here?
None. It's very cozy.
That looks sick. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I have no.
Is this not the
with
coolest
this.
thing you've ever seen?
This is great.
You know what the
But
craziest part is? Are you ready for this? Are you ready? The pillow has pockets.
Okay.
Like,
I'm sorry.
You ever need you're taking a nap, you're like, oh man, my wedding ring is so tight. Pocket.
Right. But wait.
Oh, where'd
okay,
my wedding
can
ring
you
go?
change?
It's in my pocket.
Can you change the sheets on it, like the jean sheets?
No, they're stitched in. It was a wedding gift, but it's so cool. And I've been saving this for the next delay I had on the broadcast, and I just think it's so cool.
But how?
It's comfier than it looks too. You'd think it'd be uncomfy, but it's that the grandma hug denim jacket vibe. That's what it feels like. It feels like hugging a grandma. You know, you're there for Sunday dinner and you're 6 years old again. That's what it feels like.
I'm about to start crying on cast right now. I miss her so much.
Give me a tissue. I in our ears right now, I hear Rosie like, how long are they gonna go? How long
We've got time. Now, you know what I'm excited for. I wanted to dabble in on this too. You mentioned that we've got more.
I'll give you one more
tonight.
before we take a break. Go ahead.
Clono's playing tonight. Very excited for that. It's a shame I can't be there to watch Clono play. Clono's playing tonight.
Oh, Clono's on the
Good friend of
Sparta
ours.
set. Nice.
Yeah, Clono's on the Sparta set.
I
One
wish
of our
we could
good
see
friends.
Musi, one of the Smite Prime casters. I wish I could see that game.
Right.
So,
well,
you said you didn't buy any stock in players in the Smite Comp website, which is you know, no real money transactions, but you can sort of use these points, these passion points to invest in players. There's no Musi stock from you. That's who I put my stock in.
I'll be honest. I laid off the gambling a little bit. I lost quite a bit in Vegas. I lost. Well, hold on. How much did you lose before I reveal my card here?
I brought 40 and I lost 38.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to abstain from sharing numbers.
No,
I'll give you that pass.
Between me and my ex in Vegas, we lost $900, which, you know, I had brought quite a bit. I knew, but here's the thing: they get you good. It was the stupid fish. It was the fish first.
It was the fish slot machine.
I lost at probably 100 to the fish. And then I kept giving her money because she's like, hey, you're going to be at Smite all day. Can I have some money to go gamble with? I'm like, yeah, here's $200. And it's gone next time I see her. And I had fun too. You know, I go play 21 after, you know, y'all took in for the night. We go out on the town a little bit, and the town being the casino. You know, I'm stuck playing 21 for a little bit. And I'm not proud of it. I kind of knew going into it that, like, I was going to lose some money, right? But it just disappeared so fast, dude. Like, so quick. Let's cut.
So
Why did I say that?
at this point, there has been a fair bit of time passed. So for the Olympus Smite League, that does enforce some rules for the set and how things work with delays between games. So we're going to take a short break so admin can figure out what we do next. We'll be back with an update on the game, what's been going on. So until then, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in the Olympus Smite League. Thanks for hanging out. You say the word admin and everybody starts hidden play game. It's crazy how that works. Welcome back to the Olympus Smite League. I almost said Morton Malum. Still haven't made that mistake on air. I saved myself. I'm Malum. He's Morty. RedRosiePanda on production. Below us, all those gods that are grayed out. Just like Smite Prime, we use the Vault ban system. So if it's banned, or excuse me, if it's played in the first game, it is gone from play. So you're not going to see any of the same characters again. The bans can transfer over, so you can keep banning the gods you don't want to see. But if you played it, it's gonzo. So they're in the vault for the rest of this best of 3 set. For now, it's just these guys. After this game, if it goes to a game 3, it's going to be even more of those guys below us. But Mort, we've got our first bans coming out. I feel like you've definitely got some predictions now, especially with the god pool thinner as we continue on.
I've got nothing. Honestly, I think seeing that some of these players in new spots like BennyQ and Jungle and Hydra and support, I mean, I don't know. It's been nothing but scrims for them, and I haven't been tuned into the scrims. So what they pull out here is going to be completely new. Hydra loves to pick up these backline support, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a Ganesh. We all know Hydra to be the Khepri player, but I don't know if he pulls a Khepri here in a comp set. I don't know.
Especially with Thanatos still being available, I feel like it's a simple answer. But as the god pools get thinner, the more simple things get is kind of how I feel like it'll work in most games that utilize this system of kind of getting rid of what's been played. That is what you see, is things get simple by the end unless they try to meta game it a little bit and start simple to save some of the more advanced picks for later in the set. But the first pick overall is going to be Hecate, so that's pretty exciting. I feel like Hecate, especially in this matchup, is interesting because I wonder how Vyye plays it. Duduin has a pretty nasty Hecate. Obviously, BennyQ does as well. Less of an option. Excuse me, Osiris, I was speaking. Duduin has a pretty nasty Hecate as well, so it's kind of cool that Vyye takes it away. I'm less familiar with what Vyye brings to the table, but I know Vyye is a very touted mid laner looking at some of those Athens tier lists, so I'm excited to see the performance. Or maybe instead, where does the Scylla go? Mort, I'm so confused. Help me. Is this Scylla support?
I can solve a bit of confusion for you. Vyye was formerly known as Globe in the
That's
Founders
Globe?
Series. Food
And nobody
Drive for
told
Globe.
me?
I'm telling you right now.
Oh my
just
goodness,
now
that
came
changes
up.
everything. I'm even more excited. And now that definitely is a Hecate.
Yeah, everybody now you know Smite players, they love to rebrand, love to change names.
They do.
I do the same thing every now and then. I was Cash Money Morty for a while. It's quite all right. We love to change names here in the Smite community, and that was
You were
Globe.
Cash Money Morty, and then Vegas happened, and now you're just Morty.
So Scylla's going to be probably in the Why did I say that? I
Probably
had notes.
support.
Yeah, probably support. That aspect that Scylla has just makes her such a prominent support because you've got literally no you have no means as far as like I can't use abilities anymore. I don't know why words are coming out right now. I can't use abilities anymore because I'm out of mana. Instead, you gain mana for your abilities used, and that's how you use your ultimate. You're relying on 100% of a mana bar, then you can ult, and then you go back to just throwing abilities out, and then that's how you gain your mana back. So that lets Scylla free cast from a distance, and just you get so much out of that. But a lot more picks have come through.
A lot are coming through. The Jingwei is pretty interesting because hydrogen and Jingwei, that's a peanut butter and jelly of the competitive Smite. But hydrogen's in support. I don't expect to see a Jingwei support, and the players do need to let the other team know if there's a role swap, so I do not believe there is one. So kind of wild to see that combo, but it makes you wonder, is this hydrogen playing still a support? Because we saw the E-set support in the previous game. And what does that say about Hydrogen's support god pool as well? This is week 1 of Athens. You're learning a lot as you go through the season. This is a very interesting day 1 for the side of Eternal Vanguard. Kitsune, though, rocking with the Ares Daji, so chains galore.
Now, there is also a possibility, we have seen this in a little place called Babylon Smite League, the Hunbat support. He's got the aspect of disruption, which gives his overhead smash, a stun, as well as his basic attacks, slowing instead of dealing enhanced damage. So you do have a lot of crowd control through Hunbats, and then you could easily make your way over to a Gold Fury afterwards. I don't know, there's a lot of hype there, but Kitsune have a bit of an awesome team as well. Chiron getting picked up. He's been a banger god since he dropped. He's hit multiple nerfs, still has not stopped momentum. He has been getting up throughout the battleground for quite some time, and I don't think he's going to stop anytime soon. Combine that with Osiris, Agni, Daji, Kitsune's comp looks magnificent.
So Chiron, Mr. Smite Prime God Reveal guy, walk me through Chiron. What's he bring to Smite 2? One of my favorite characters from Smite 1, so I'd love to hear the Mort version.
He's it depends on how you want to play him. I think it's what makes Chiron so exciting in Smite 2 is that you've got a couple different play styles, and he's the first god in Smite 2 where his abilities change depending on what you build as far as itemization goes. If you want to go heavy on attack speed, if this pick goes to Tito, then your Masterful Shot becomes a flurry of arrows rather than just one, and it provides on-hit effects like Tearfing or Braggy's Harp. Or if this goes to Duduin in the mid lane, then you get an extra cast to Masterful Shot, somewhat similar to Scylla's Crush, and then you're able to deal even more damage through Masterful Shot because that ability just slams damage. It is a little bit harder to hit, but it has a lot of damage to it. So depending on who this pick goes to will depend on how you're going to utilize Chiron with his new +1s in Smite 2.
Thanks for taking us through that one, and it works out timing-wise absolutely perfect, Mort, as we're ready to get on to the battleground for game number 2 of week number 1 of the Athens Division for the Olympus Smite League. Bit of a mouthful, that's because the games have been an earful. The words are nonstop, the abilities are nonstop, the fighting has been wild. Will it continue? We got 99,000 seconds to figure out as the game does get paused. But hey, unpause, perfect. It all works out in the end. So Duduin taking Chiron to the mid lane. It's going to be an Agni ADC. Across the way, it does end up being Scylla support. Less of a surprise there. So with the Agni going ADC and the Duduin taking Chiron mid, how does that change up what you anticipated from the picks and bans screen board?
Okay. So Tito's going to utilize the aspect of combustion to become a bit stronger of a carry here. Kitsune's got a lot of magical damage on that side, but you're able to make up for it with Duduin taking Chiron into the mid lane, which makes a lot of sense. Keep in mind, he's utilizing that Sands of Time new starter, which gives strength now. That's why he went for the Axe tier 1 early on. So Sands of Time provides a little bit of extra strength, 15 to be exact, and you're able to slam abilities over and over and over and over and over. That's kind of been Chiron's biggest issue since he dropped into Smite. Even in Smite 1, this is kind of a problem. He's got really high mana consumption. This is solved with Sands of Time. I think it's a great starter.
Mort, this is the second game in a row where Shadow has come out to the jungle with no starter item and no potions. What's he cooking up? Do you have an idea? Because my guess is not there. I'll be honest.
It's the tier 2, the Lucerne. I think you get so much strength from there, but that doesn't make sense to me because you get lower scalings from his aspect of disruption with Shadow deciding to go for that. You get lower scalings on some of your abilities. I guess if he maxes the 3, you get a lot out of that. That's probably the best way to look at how Shadow's taking the early game. Max the 3 from the Lucerne, you get the tier 2 hammer, or I guess it's not a sword, or I don't know what the heck that is. I'm not a medieval sword person, but Musi would know that.
I could see you being a blacksmith in a past lifetime, though.
I mean, there's a possibility
like
there. I don't know if I live up to
the big apron, the hammer and flames and all that. I could see it. Would fit the vibe. I guess it goes just down to the class passives, perhaps, which is it's still an interesting perspective, I guess. But another pause comes out. Let's see if there's anything put this time, or the players just need a breather. Go ahead, hit me, Mort. Something's clicked. I see the light bulb above your head on our cameras.
Dude, another thing we haven't got to talk about, the entire set, class passives are now in Conquest. That's probably why he's opting for the Lucerne tier 2, is because he wants more strength to clear the camps faster. That makes so much more sense. His basic attacks actually hit now and will hurt the jungle monsters within this first clear, because that's what a lot of jungler players have been talking about. This first clear with the jungle passive kind of hurting their early clears, it kind of sucks. Junglers are in a rough spot right now. But with Lucerne, you get this tier 2 online, and now it's like, you're dealing the same amount of damage as you were. Sure, you don't have any potions, but you still get healing off these jungle monsters. Dude, I think that makes so much sense now.
So I guess you even can potentially go for invades, which is the case. I would be surprised to see Shadow try to force a gank, being so not far behind itemization-wise, but it's still, like I said, this is interesting to watch play out. I'm keen on when we see Shadow back for the first time, sort of what's purchased versus the first back for BennyQ. Vyye in trouble under the tower, actually, but that might be a mistake. There's a first blood that goes to Duduin. Can you get a second response? Yes, Shadow will find a kill on the back end of it, but Duduin is going to get a double kill to start this game. What a start for the Chiron.
Dude, Duduin saved the masterful shot, so he's able to save it for Shadow. He didn't need to use it on Vyye there. He used it on Shadow instead, hit the slow, one more basic, cleaned it up. Duduin's 2-0 right now. That's a phenomenal start for Kitsune.
Especially for a Chiron who can hit so hard early if you are kind of not anticipating it and not with the, not anticipating that damage. It just can be so sneaky. That's frightening, to say the least. But now Duduin, this is a player who we know can take advantage of that lead too, which is usually the key talking point, especially in amateur competitive leagues. But for the Athens Division, these players know what to do once they get ahead.
Yeah, it's all about how you utilize your leads. That's probably one of the biggest issues you see in the lower division. Sparta, not as much. Delphi, Crete, okay, we can talk about it a little bit more. But here in Athens, yeah, these players, once they get that lead developed, now I feel a little more comfortable invading into the jungle. Now I feel comfortable soloing solo brands, fire brands, knowing that around the corner could be Vyye, could be Hydra, whoever, but I still am going to be okay with playing this out. But look at Eternal Vanguard pressing up on left side.
Already going for an invade. You've got Shadow here as well, who did back, has the Warrior's Axe online. Purple buff stolen away, and easy peasy. So we saw Shadow back, Warrior's Axe online, a tier 1 and a full health chalice versus the couple of health potions for BennyQ.
Okay, I mean, yeah, it's a hard clear, man. I get it. It's a hard clear. But the Warriors Axe, I think, makes the most sense here because he didn't have a starter going into it. Now he does. Warriors Axe provides a lot of that early pressure that we talked about in game one. It's just such a good starter, dude. I think if you want momentum early on, Warriors Axe is like one of the two options to have. And I don't know if you go conduit on Hun Bats. I just don't know if that's the move. Even if it does give strength, I think Warriors Axe is just so much better, mainly because of the heal. Yes, true damage is dope. Yes, all the other stuff you get with it is dope, but the heal is just so essential. On top of the Chalice, the sustain from Shadow is going to be great.
It is also kind of exciting, too, to see the difference in starter support-wise. Hydra now also going with that Warrior's Axe that you touched on. And for Shadow's back, too, just to kind of go back to that, grabbing the Health Chalice, I think, is cool because you're getting so much more value sort of throughout this, especially given how important farm can be. And I'm looking across the map. There's a lot of action that could happen. LordGarfield almost got picked off in the dual lane and ultimate out from the Scylla fairly early. Now Hydrogen has to back up with Golden Hydrogen, notably out of mana. Will toss one on the fadeaway to get the... No, does not get the blue buff. That is stolen away by Kitsune.
Unfortunate indeed. But, you know, it is what it is. Little transaction so far. Nothing too crazy, but look at BennyQ stepping forward.
Shadow jumps over, but the chains are out. Shadow will instantly use the bead to try to escape it. BennyQ will not go for the chase. Shadow got scared, I think, half to death. Oh, my goodness. More than half to death, Mort.
Yeah, three quarters to death. Centaurus arrows didn't quite land, though. I think he connected 1 of 3. And then you can use Masterful Shot after Centaurus now, too, so that helps a little bit. But Hydra's taking a lot of damage as well.
Hydrogen does get some poke back, which will back things up thanks to that rain fire. And it's a dash away from the Agni. So nice peel for the support to help get Hydra out of dodge. Notably, and obviously it's down to God selection, just so much less early aggression that Hydra and Tito can combine for, especially with the escape tools from Golden and Hydrogen. Granted, if the chains hit, that discussion changes, but the chains are the key to it for Hydra into this dual lane. As 6 minutes crosses, that means Bravo 6 goes dark and the lights go out.
And yeah, we're going to see a little bit of fighting here in just a minute. As soon as Moonlight hits, that's when there are crystals around the map, which mainly is just a little bit of extra farm, really. Nothing too crazy to fight over, but in a moment, we'll see in the mid lane that beacon will become a control point, which either team can hold and then get a little bit of gold, a little bit of experience, and as well as the Moonlight ritual to fight over, which gives everybody on the map, it reveals their position for whoever uses it, right? Well, I guess I didn't explain that very well. My words aren't working too great right now. Malum, help me out, please. So you're using
How about instead we handle the fight? Still ult, beads away, Chiron alive, will escape, but no, runs into trouble, gets caught out by Golden, who will bring him down. Crossbow to the face. What's next? Fear no evil drop. Tito around the corner. The crush won't kill. Hydrogen stepped up far, but has backup. Look at the health of Kitsune. They're so caught out. BennyQ will drop too. Let's dive tower. Why not? And go for another one. They'll find... No, they will find Tito. There's the Tito, but you lose Shadow in the process. But a 1 for 3. Eternal Vanguard will take that all day. That puts them up 4-3 in kills and gives them a gold lead as well.
That's completely okay. I'm fine with losing Shadow here because I anticipate Shadow to be more of a setup god rather than your hyper carry here. Hunbats without aspect has more hyper carry potential, but I think with the aspect of disruption, I mean, it takes a Sun Prod level of a jungler to make aspect of disruption a hyper carry god. I think you're just going to be looking to set up Vyye, set up Golden, and LordGarfield. Those are your 3 damage dealers on the team. Shadow's just there to make sure they're locked down and easy pickings for the rest of Vanguard.
Shadow is a name that's sort of just come on the scene, so it could be a big first set in week 1 for Shadow to make a name for themselves. Now damage onto the Daji. BennyQ just gets popped! Hydrogen with the kill credit. BennyQ went from full to disappearing act so quickly in that fight. That was wild.
And that's a good pick. A little bit more for Eternal Vanguard is, unlike last game, they're starting to develop a little bit more momentum. Kitsune grabbed a couple easy kills early on and then just kept developing from there. No point in time did Eternal Vanguard ever have a lead in game 1. Now they're getting a little more momentum as they fight for the control point here in mid.
Scylla ultimate's out on the control point. The hit, not quite there. We'll see if they can find more. In response, there's an Ares ultimate from Kitsune to bring him back, but the Ares Hydra will fall to Hydra Jin. Maybe bringing them closer wasn't the play there. The ritual goes to Eternal Vanguard, and their lead continues to grow.
I wonder if that was communicated or not. I think that Hydra's really good at talking usually, but I can't help but wonder if there was a miscommunication on that part specifically. No escape looked like a good idea there to me. I thought, okay, this works well for Kitsune. The first little bit of momentum in quite some time. I guess Duduin didn't have cooldowns there or just wasn't ready in general. And I don't know, it just kind of fell apart afterwards. I think it was a good part on Hydra, but the team didn't react to it well.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sort of just and maybe that part of that was just, well, you got yourself in this one. Salute, later, buddy. You know, we're
Yeah.
not going to commit too much more to that, and maybe even the comms from Hydra were that like, oh, let me go, just let me let me die, guys. Gold Fury 1K gone before an answer, perhaps still ultimate, maybe early. It goes down, and Eternal Vanguard are able to secure it. A little bit scary though. The Scylla ultimate's not what secured it. Golden with the kill credit, so Kitsune were very close to a steal.
I couldn't even tell who it was for a moment there because of the fancy little name, part of the supporter shop, if you were curious. Yeah, I was wondering if who took that for a second, but yeah, Eternal Vanguard picking that up, a little bit more momentum, 3K gold lead for 10 minutes, and Firebrand's going in the way of Kitsune. It's kind of even.
Much different game for 10 minutes. I know the kills are close to what we had around this time, but the vibe is very different. It's a different style of fighting. I feel like a lot of that is just coming from the lack of Guan Yu. So much damage on the Hydra quickly. I guess that's the other part of it, right? Is how much Hydra is getting poked out early in these fights. It can't be that same playmaker for the side of Eternal, or excuse me, for the side of Kitsune versus Eternal Vanguard.
Yeah, I think definitely Hydra not utilizing the Guan Yu pick, or not being able to utilize the Guan Yu pick here definitely hurts momentum early on. He's still doing some with Ares. It's just that Ares lacks mobility. That's the biggest thing that he could utilize with Guan Yu is you get on the horse and you just get like a crazy big speed boost, and you don't really have that. Maybe we'll see Hydra pick up Stampede later on, which gives you and your friends a movement speed boost instead of just you. That could give somewhat of the same use. 90-second cooldowns, kind of a long time, you know, definitely longer than Guan Yu's horse. That was up like every 20 seconds. We joked about that like multiple times. Like, why is he on the horse again? What's going on here?
Yeah, it was a rodeo. Big rodeo guy Mort teaching me about rodeos.
Yeah.
You been to a lot of rodeos?
I have not. I love to ride.
Hydra, not loving this ride to the grayscale, potentially. Does answer with an ultimate of his own. Still ult over the wall. Can they find the kill? No. Matter of fact, BennyQ able to answer back and take out Shadow. Now the engage after. Benny lands into so much damage. He's able to get away, but Amez will catch, and down will go Benny. Vyye is able to pick it up. Can they find Duduin too? Vyye certainly wants to try. Duduin closing the distance, and Vyye will give up the chase. Oh, what an answer back from Eternal Vanguard. You lose Shadow, and just as quickly you turn around, you get Benny out, but most importantly, you clear away in the mid lane to take out the tier 1.
Very, very nice. Eternal Vanguard doing the same thing that Kitsune did last game and utilizing every bit of the map that you can to build up that gold lead and get more tools in your pocket. First Pyromancer of the game going the way of Eternal Vanguard. And we'll see who the Pyro Bomb goes to in just a moment as buffs get picked up around the map. Firebrand's getting looked at by EV as well. And Kitsune just grasping for farm at this point.
Hydrogen is in no man's land right now. I think sees the same thing, does get the Sentinel away. Will that create the space? It will. Matter of fact, now Hydrogen's got backup, so maybe this all works out in the end. And Fear No Evil comes out. The attention's going to be Shadow, but so far it's working out for Eternal Vanguard. They get a cripple on. Scylla ult no good. The turn, that Scylla ult way good. Finds a lot of damage, but the masterful shot takes one down as Hydrogen finds Benny. Who's going to be next? Hydra might just fall. One more hit. The ultimate splits the difference, and Hydra gets away as Hydrogen falls to Remakami. Double for Duduin. Kitsune trying to will their way back into the game. They'll lose Hydra, but now the attention turns to LordGarfield, who took him out. Garfield stuck between two, trying to fight around it, but the damage from Duduin and Remakami is too much, and LordGarfield will fall, and 4 will die for EV.
Okay, so it looks like EV are in the lead, right? But I think if Duduin keeps taking off the way that he is, this could be bad news for EV. Duduin needs to be checked sooner than later, but here's the problem. Shadow is the first person you think of as far as, yeah, let me send the jungler out to take care of him. Shadow's struggling right now. Utilized by Golden over here on the left side, caught some pressure and ulted away. Shadow is getting shut down right now. Shadow cannot be sent to kill Duduin. We need at least 2 or 3 members of EV to look at Duduin and kill him before that snowball builds up anymore.
Whew. All right. Right as we were talking about this game having a different vibe, things pick up almost instantly. And at 14 minutes, this game is basically back to even Stevens. I guess the biggest difference being the tower situation, but even that has been evened up with that left side tier 1 falling for EV and favoring Kitsune. It makes it feel like that next objective has even more importance on how the swing of this game continues to go.
Yeah, there's still some odds on either side, really. Both junglers kind of in a deficit right now. Both mid laners looking pretty solid. Vyye and Duduin both looking very nice right now. Obviously, on paper, Duduin is doing a little bit better, but Vyye, I think the build is coming together quite well. Bukathoth about to be finished stacking in just a moment as well, so we'll really see some damage after that. Hydra shows up on left side.
Gets the cripple, has damage back up from the Jingwei. Hydra falls low quickly. Learning bow, those procs, they really come through quickly, and it can be a sneaky bit of damage, especially with the synergy on Jing. It's scary to have the rage and no stacks. Mid lane fight starts to break out. You see the dash away, the focus on, the fear no evil. Chiron, not looking long for this world, runs into Hydrogen, who gets that last hit. Shadow gets away thanks to a perfectly placed ultimate from Vyye. That was well played. Now the re-engage. Hydrogen's leading the way. Scylla ultimate out, and my goodness! Is this a support? Are we sure? The 5th kill for Hydrogen now turns and looks at the Gold Fury with the squad. And EV goes right back to the lead. And a lot of it, if not all of it, is thanks to how Hydrogen is making the Scylla support work.
I am not mad at Hydrogen getting all of those kills. I'm really not. I don't hate the idea that Shadow's just setting up and then Hydrogen's knocking the pins down from there. Fight goes over on right side as well as the Moonlight Queen has just spawned and Garfield's chasing one down.
Remakami is falling lower. You see the rotation out from Tito, but so far the only one here. Garfield gets turned on. Remakami will find the killing spree with backup from the ADC. Now Chiron will join the fray. You see the ult out from Hydra to force the answer from Hydrogen to survive with the beads. Now you see the circle, and it's around the Queen Naga. Eternal Vanguard, regroup, same for Kitsune. Remakami steps up, gets stunned, has some poke. Same can be said for Hydra. With the front line looking low, that opens the door for Hydrogen, who just jumps in the middle of everybody. But this time, Kitsune make him pay for the greed, and Remakami will find the kill. Is this the go button for Kitsune? It's the stop button for Remakami, as dude bites the dust right after. The ult from Vyye will bring Hydra closer. Can you make the support pay when you get him that close? No, not quite. And Eternal Vanguard have to retreat. Kitsune will pick up the Queen Naga. EV looking to answer, try to get a steal. Golden pops the crossbow bolts. The ultimate 2. Queen Naga goes to Kitsune. They'll find Duduin as well. Golden with a dash forward. Vyye finds BennyQ, and the fight works great for EV. Tito with one answer, but that one answer is all you're gonna get, as Garfield will take out Tito. 4 dead for Kitsune. Queen Naga to EV.
Okay. So this really worked out both. I gotta think here a little bit. It worked out both ways because if Eternal Vanguard getting their hands on the Moonlight Queen is quite nice. That's definitely what they wanted, right? But kill is going the way of it went to Kitsune. I'm sorry, but Vanguard getting the getting all these kills is great for them as well. So you get more snowball, right? The early game still favors Vanguard, but the later we go, the stronger Kitsune will get. This puts Eternal Vanguard on a timer. Hit the gas pedal, keep going, grab Gold Furies, grab Pyromancers, get the first Fire Giant as soon as it's available, and hit the go button from there. Kitsune are fine with scaling. Most of their gods, aside from Ares, are perfectly okay with scaling as well. The stronger the game goes, the later the game goes, the stronger they get. So Kitsune want to drag this out as long as they can. Eternal Vanguard need to watch the clock.
That is the one tough thing about Smite, right? There's no time limit officially, but there is unofficially. You get to this point where things just kind of get beyond repair. And Kitsune, I'm sure, are a team that understand that. Now, you called that Duduin would be the way back in, but that's now back-to-back fights where EV has heard you and made Duduin the focus of the fight, and we're seeing the Chiron kind of be a non-issue because of it. How do you adjust if you are Kitsune?
It really just comes down to you got to protect Duduin. Hydra's got to hang on to Duduin's hand and make sure, hey, you can do anything you want to and don't let them tell you otherwise. I will cripple anybody that looks at you funny. Hydra has no issue with walking forward or playing back and utilizing his 2 to provide AoE. Hydra's about to take a death for the team here.
Hydrogen answers the ultimate, the no escape, with a big-time ultimate of his own. Now BennyQ over the wall. You notice Hydra's low, but the damage back on Golden might slow things down for EV. It does. They retreat. Meanwhile, Tito with a valuable split push to get some farm in pocket. So that's pretty big as well.
Okay. So, yeah, slows them down a little bit, but thank goodness for Jingwei able to just fly out of the base and show back up to Fire Giant because Eternal Vanguard are ready to take this down. Kitsune not going to let it happen for free, though.
An aggressive call right in the face of Kitsune. They've got all members up, but not everybody here. EV onto the fire. At half health, Kitsune well aware. You can see the disbursement of damage already heavily affecting Remakami. Now 2 stuck, Fear No Evil as well. Double kill for Golden. Kitsune just got popped. They were stuck looking at the Fire Giant, and EV thanked them for just standing there and letting it happen. Now Fire at half health. Kitsune down to 3 members to defend it, who are still lurking. The Fire around 2k health. Can you get in to get the steal? Instead, EV go for the fight as well. They split their efforts. A bomb as well. Hydrogen will get the Fire Giant for EV, and the fight looks great too as Duduin will fall.
2 dead bodies on the side of Kitsune, dagger in hand for Golden. Things look better and better every second that goes by for Vanguard. Gold Fury is up, and looks like a couple members of Vanguard are making their way over as well. Jingwei is going to fly out of the base here in just a moment thanks to her passive, and Eternal Vanguard will be ready to take this Gold Fury. Kitsune just lost 1 objective, though. Are they going to be willing to fight for another? With Fire Giant belts around the waist of all 5 members of Vanguard, that fight might not be so smart. But letting the 3rd Gold Fury go the way of Eternal Vanguard, I don't know if that's smart either. Looks like Kitsune are just completely scrapping it, making their way towards Garfield instead on right side.
You talked about how important it was for Hydra to be able to protect Duduin, and now Hydra has been all but removed from this game, so far behind everybody on Eternal Vanguard. And when, as a support, you fall that far behind, you just become another squishy. The chase is still on for LordGarfield, but the ultimate to get away, as on the left side, Eternal Vanguard is going to start taking structures left and right. Kitsune see that, they begin to back. But what concerns me the most for Kitsune is we've had this now baton pass. Sure, Hydrogen's high in the damage charts, has all these kills, but Golden, 5 kills of their own, and now fully almost online as a Jingwei, 5 stacks on Rage and a Deathbringer. And as you called, the dagger in pocket. That is a nightmare scenario.
And Kitsune has done everything they can to try and counter-build this. We see the Spirit Visage built from Kitsune. Everything that Kitsune could do, it's done. Right now, it's just a matter of execution and team fights. Eternal Vanguard waiting on minions to walk forward, and Vyye is slamming damage in the meantime.
Eventually, it feels like Eternal Vanguard are going to try to go for that game-ender fight because their lead is so significant. What can Kitsune do back? And Eternal Vanguard are a team that do have the experience and the know-how to understand that they are in that position to sort of force things out, make Kitsune spread themselves too thin. It's a bad feeling if you're the side of Kitsune, Mort. Is there some kind of answer lying in wait? It feels like every time you think of one for Kitsune, EV hears you and they figure out their own solution to the problem that hasn't yet existed. So what do you do now?
Heed my words, Kitsune. You've got 2 big ultimates on your team that could steal Fire Giant with ease. The bombs, the meteor showers from Agni, and Centaurus from Chiron. Both of those abilities are quite long range and hit pretty darn hard. Utilize these to your best potential. Steal away the Fire Giant. Otherwise, if Eternal Vanguard has Fire Giant belts, you're never killing them. Not in 100 years. Without Fire Giant, odds are a little bit higher. But these team fights rely specifically on the Fire Giant. It's not going to be up for a moment. At this point, I mean, you're split pushing if you're Tito. Everybody else just hanging at the base and trying to play Alamo here. Otherwise, I mean, it's really just comes down to the Fire Giant and who it goes to.
So basically, one more Hail Mary is the chance for Kitsune back in this game.
Yep.
They have to get a steal if the opportunity presents itself. And it does look like they'll have an okay chance. There's 40 seconds left on Fire, but you notice EV, they've cleared all the Tier 2 towers, and they're heading back to base. They cleaned up farm on the map. I mean, the only split push we saw was Tito, who's still notably far behind in terms of itemization versus Golden. So things are looking real good if you've got stocks in EV. 3 gold theories on top of that as well.
Their drive has been phenomenal this game. Nothing but 10-yard catches,
And
slant routes.
territory, by the way.
No territory. Whoopsie daisy territory for Kitsune. But yeah, like you said, a Hail Mary option here, I think is definitely, I wouldn't even say a Hail Mary. I think the more accurate thing, interception. An interception, I don't know if it turns into a pick six. I don't think you end game off that, but you want to intercept the Fire Giant. That's the biggest thing Kitsune could do here. And they've got a lot of damage. Look at what Duduin's up to right now. Already fully stacked on Transcendence. You've got Jotuns, you've got Oathsworn, you've got Heartseeker. So much damage on the side of Duduin right now. Centaurus is probably your best bet. Your second option here, if you're in the pocket and you're looking for a second receiver, it's got to be Tito. Even though you're building complete strength and you don't have too much damage on Tito's ultimate, it's still something.
And something is definitely better than nothing, right?
Yep.
Simple commentary. We all love that here. Look at the flank that BennyQ has. Could you make a play off that? I mean, doubtful, but I'm looking for anything. And with Fire Giant up soon, do you use that to your advantage? Notably, there's a lot of lacking wards on the side of Eternal Vanguard, on their side of the jungle. Benny could make a play that way. I mean, I'm picking at straws right now more, but that feels like the only option there is for the side of Kitsune.
I mean, all they've got to work with is straws, but what else do you use to drink the drink other than just put it to your mouth and slurp? And relying on...
Anyway,
I'm so sorry.
Fire Giant up. Eternal Vanguard will get there first. Kitsune will go for an answer. BennyQ is taking that flank, so no wards will know where BennyQ is. Garfield finds everybody with the Eagles rally and rally around. Eternal Vanguard will, but can they find picks? They've got to do it quick with BennyQ lurking. Duduin answers back quickly, and Vyye is gone. Now Benny has made his play in, and Remakami is going to find Hydrogen. What a fight back! Kitsune have a chance! They find another! They've only lost one! Kitsune with a huge play to get themselves back in this game. They don't get fire, but they kill 3, only losing the 1.
That's a 63-yard reception. That is a bomb thrown from Kitsune there, and that is the best thing they could do. Like we said, fight around this Fire Giant, keep EV from getting their hands on the dagger once more. Now, that steal is going to be a little bit harder because there are 2 pyro bombs in the pockets of Hydrogen and Garfield, respectively, 1 for each, but I still think there's a possibility here. There's definitely some higher odds.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, the Fire Giant's getting burned away here. Look, Kitsune, read the room. 3 bodies dead for Vanguard. Now's the time to burn.
I don't think they know the Hoonbots is there on the other side of the door. Now the door will open. Hoonbots, does he go in for the steal? 3k health on the Fire Giant. They see Golden off the fire. They go. They look for Golden. And Golden puts up a fight on the way out and actually gets some decent poke. That'll set up Shadow for a play. Shadow follows and finds Tito and brings him down. Shadow, will he fall? Yes, but look how long it took. Look at the answer back from EV. They take advantage of the damage. They follow what was left behind, and they're going to look to put Kitsune down. But Kitsune's fight back is still pretty strong. BennyQ will handle Vyye. You see the dash away with the wind sprite for Remakami to get away. It'll be a 3 for 2.
What? And there's still members of Kitsune getting chased after. Hydra's continuing to walk forward, hits a crush, doesn't know who to look at, so instead turns things around. Ulticam, screw it, why not? You know, you've got it online however often if you're Hydra, so just throw them things out. I don't think it matters. Let the dogs let the dogs bark a little bit.
Let the dogs start barking. I can hear the whole neighborhood right now.
Not happy about it. Not happy one bit. Put those dogs back inside. No need to hear that. Nobody on the side of Kitsune wants to hear those dogs, but Eternal Vanguard, I mean, that's the family friend right there. A man's best friend, some might say.
Great commentary.
just saying stuff here. That's what we're here for, Malum. I love it here.
It's so wild how weird this game feels because the gold lead should make it feel so much more out of hand for Kitsune. Yeah. But lately, EV can't quite put the game away. Hydra is starting to catch up as well, and the tankier Hydra is, the more possible it feels from that perspective. As well as the old caster saying, I know everybody loves when casters say this, but gold does start to matter less the later you go. I mean, and current smite, obviously, those last couple items are so expensive that it obviously is still valuable, but it is the most even playing field Kitsune's had since the early game. The Fire Giant now being the attention. What will Kitsune make their play be? The fire down to half. Kitsune has 4 of 5 here. Tito lagging behind. Shadow's the focus. Shadow not dead. Remakami has to ult away. BennyQ goes in after. He takes a lot of damage, but the ult out. Shadow and Vyye almost dead. Can they fall? You hear the blinks go too, but Vyye is able to get away. Now Kitsune's damage is spread, and BennyQ is dead. Remakami also has to fall backwards. EV steps up, but they're well spread out so far. Hydra now caught. Hydra Jin around the corner. Hydra one hit away from death, but Duduin's able to get him away, at least for now. Hydra will escape, and EV will back up and heal. So while you lose one member if you're Kitsune, the fight goes well enough that you keep everything going.
I think you're absolutely right. That momentum has been shattered for Vanguard. They had a lead for so long, but I mean, even with the goal lead they have now, the kills are starting to even out. Kitsune are applying pressure in these fights. That started off with Remakami in the backline.
That ultimate from Vyye did split the difference, so nobody from Kitsune gets brought in. You could use that teleport to get aggressive or get out if you are Hydrogen, who's already low. Fire down to 4k health. Kitsune will look to make the play in. Fire Giant's low. It goes down. Hydrogen gets the Fire Giant for EV. Now they step up looking for the fight after the fact. Can they bring down one? Yes, they can. Remakami will fall to Vyye, and EV get the Fire Giant. The oh so important Fire Giant that Mort has been touching on for these last few minutes, with EV having Fire Belt around 5. Dagger in pocket of Shadow, who's had so many big ultimates, and why not add a Pyro Bomb to pocket? You talked about the Alamo, Mort. I feel like it's all hands on deck at the Alamo now.
And there's one more tool needed to make the trifecta of objectives go the way of Vanguard. It's the all-knowing Ancient Fury. Vanguard making their way now. A little bit of zoning action happening from Hydra to make sure that nobody from Kitsune steals this away, but weakened structures, Fire Giant belts, and Pyro Bombs, all for Vanguard. I mean, this could be extremely bad news. There couldn't be worse news for Kitsune, to be quite frank with you.
I know, and Bad News Bears doesn't even play in OSL anymore. But that's the only way to describe this game for Kitsune, especially after that last fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this. You've thrown this at me multiple times. Kitsune, what do they do? What do they do? You're just like hoping and praying. Whoa!
Oh my goodness. I take one sip of a drink and Vyye just runs into a brick wall in the solo lane.
Okay, so Duduin's still strong as ever. I think we just we just rely on Duduin here. But you know what? I think this damage combo from Duduin, they changed up the starters a little bit. Pendulum now gives strength based on how much available mana you have. And with Transcendence, with Jotuns, with Heartseeker, you've got a whole lot of available mana. So, yeah, I think that's extremely strong. No wonder Duduin is slamming as much as he is. But we've got to let Duduin do a little bit. Oh, you like that? Do a little bit more. Hydra's got to give him breathing room. Remakami needs to pressure the backline. And that all has to happen at the same time. Communication might be a tad bit of an issue for this Kitsune team. I feel like that's the vibe that I'm getting right now. Talk about what's going down the moment that it happens. Remakami needs to make use of every second he's tanking damage for Kitsune.
Kitsune were hunting in the jungle for something, and they might have found it. Golden is very low. The attention's on, but Golden answers back, and BennyQ just got absolutely obliterated. Now EV looking for more. You see Hydrogen dashing forward with the Sentinel. The ultimate will look for Duduin, but Duduin's already cleared the gap. Now stuck behind will be Hydra. The desperation, no escape to bring everybody in, but there's nobody there to follow up, and Hydra will fall.
Yeah, there's got to be a better opportunity to ult there. I don't know if it would have happened earlier, back when Kitsune felt more comfortable in that fight. And honestly, they don't ever feel comfortable in that fight. I mean, Fire Giant Belt still around EV's waist. 60 more seconds on this buff as they approach the weakened middle bird.
Kitsune all hands on deck, all 3 hands on deck to try to make this work, try to make this game last, and avoid going to a third game, but caught out already is Remakami. Thankfully for Kitsune, tanky enough to live for now. You see some answer back from Duduin, who's got to get back into the fountain to survive. Same thing for Tito, who barely gets away with the dash. Remakami trying to distract. Meanwhile, the Titan is the focus. Titan is dead just that quickly. My goodness, EV did so much work, and Kitsune tried so hard to block it, but at the end of the day, the Titan just took too much damage too quickly, Mort, and EV will force a game 3.
Game 3 is where we're going, chat. I mean, this, you know, the pace might have been a tad bit slower this time around, but still the same theme, right? You get early momentum for one team. In this case, it was Vanguard, and then you keep going from there. Kitsune had them on their toes for just a minute, but I mean, they were fine. They said, we can operate on our toes. We stand taller that way. And they kept going from there. Yeah, I guess that's how it works for everyone. We've all got feet like that, right? I guess, yeah, momentum just worked out extremely well for Vanguard. Kept going, kept grabbing objectives, and not a single steal came through from Kitsune. That's what they needed in those games. And the game 2 specifically, you needed a steal, and the steal didn't happen. We need to fix that if we're on the side of Kitsune.
You see those 10 gods, Chad? This is where things get interesting. A game 3 when we come back from our break, but in that game 3, there will be 26 gods, actually, that you cannot play. So when we come back from this short break, it's going to be literally all hands on deck, deep into the god oceans. What do you have to make it work? Don't go anywhere. The conclusion to Athens Week 1 when we come back.
It's funny how the world keeps turning. Stars like ladders in the sky keep burning, burning. It's crazy how the storms keep raging. And I'm here trying to keep my heart from aching. It's funny how the world keeps turning. But here with you, it's like my life's returning. Whoa, it's crazy how we're not just falling. But I'm losing balance here, my heart's gone all in, all in. Starlight burning in the night sky. This feels like a lifetime moment with you. One day things will turn out better. We could be together. We could be together underneath the stars. We could be together. We could be together underneath the stars. When I see you, I see forever. And when I'm with you, we could go wherever. It's crazy, I don't feel the pressure. So take me with you on a new adventure. Starlight burning in the night sky. This feels like a lifetime moment with you. One day things will turn out better. We could be together. We could be together underneath the stars. We could be together. We could be together. It's starlight burning in the night sky. This feels like a lifetime moment with you. One day things will turn out better. We could be together. We could be together underneath the stars.
Welcome back to the Olympus Smite League Smite game. One more game here to go on Smite game. It's game number 3 between Kitsune and Eternal Vanguard here in week 1 of the Athens Division for the Olympus Smite League, an amateur draft league now in partnership with Hydra for a cash prize for this division. There's 3 other divisions all playing all at the same time today. So make sure you join the Discord. You can use that QR code on screen, or you can, I think it's !OSL in the Smite Game Twitch chat to join up today to be ready for the next season as this league continues to roll on. I'm Malum, he's Morty. We have RedRosiePanda on production as production sends us to picks and bans. Mort, are you ready for game number 3?
And based off of how the last 2 games went, I mean, this is going to be a banger. We saw, in game 1, was these long, deep passes, 30, 40-yard receptions. This last game, a slow, methodical drive down the field, right? We're utilizing the run game, and, we're really taking our time with it, but we're still getting in the end zone regardless, and that's why we're here, 1-1, right, in a best-of-3 set. So one more game to decide who is the grand winner of this whole shebang-a-bang. I'm excited to see it go down, man.
And all those grayed out guides, you might be wondering if you're just tuning back into competitive, or maybe you checked out Smite Prime yesterday for the Joust tournament, and now you're on OSL today. All those grayed out gods below us that Rosie has set up, those are all the vault bands. So you might be a system you're familiar with if you watch a lot of MOBAs, but basically if a god is played, that god is done for the day, at least for that particular set. So there is now all those gods you can't play. The bans have remained consistent throughout our games so far. More now here in Game 3. I hope you have a God Ocean. I know I'd be panicking around this point. I think is when I'd start to be really deep in the pockets trying to figure out what on earth I'm going to play. What kind of things do you expect to see as we're this deep into the God pool?
Well, I really hope we get to see the Hydra Khepri. I mean, come on. Hydra is the Khepri player, and the odds of throwing this out in a comp set are low, especially with how you mentioned last game, because I did bring this up in last game, Picks and Bans, that Hydra is the Khepri player. But 3 executes still available. Sobek has not been picked or banned this entire set. Same thing for Thanatos, same thing for Achilles. So the odds of seeing the Khepri here, not too high. Maybe if the circumstances were a tad bit different, but probably not today. So, we've seen a lot of aggro picks from Hydra and also from Hydrogen. He showed up last game with the Scylla aspect and went crazy. He looked like a carry. He looked like he was back in the carry role, just playing a mage there. Like, it was awesome to see. But now, I mean, we're limited on aggressive supports. We might have to start pulling from the solo lane pool. Do we go for a Mulan support? We can't see a Herc support because that got played in game 1, but I mean, there's a plethora of solo laners that can also be stretched out over into support, and then you could see, their aggressive side from there.
So, one note before we continue in picks and bans, the lobby is being remade, so our bans are still going to remain and be up to date, but it will be just a second before we have the first pick come onto screen, so we have some more time to kind of guesstimate really and sort of feel things out. I'm with you. I would love to see a Khepri from Hydra. I'd also be really interested in a Thanatos. I'm surprised at one particular god. I know he's been up and down with the meta, and I believe, I could be wrong, but yesterday while it was Joust and Smite Prime, I want to say I even heard Muzi and Dilo talking about Aladdin's fallen off very hard lately, but an Aladdin is available, and if you're real deep into god selection and an Aladdin's on the table, it doesn't feel like the worst pick overall. But there still is so much available. There's also a Cerberus we haven't seen. Unfortunately, we know one god we likely won't see, and that's Sun Wukong, but that's still an option. The point being, overall, there's so many options on the table still. You just have to get a little bit creative with your team comp. Where I worry about that, and I really want your take on this in particular, Hydrogen. Last game looked immaculate on the Scylla support. Game 1 played ESET and was focused out heavily. Hydrogen, bless you, Hydrogen is not a support by trade. Traditionally, we've seen Hydrogen play ADC. So what do you expect to see from Hydrogen in this game? What kind of gods could we be looking at Hydrogen locking in if it's not going to be a traditional support?
I'm glad you asked. You know what I think that he has in pocket that we just haven't seen yet? Apollo. He's already slamming Apollo, right? Because he's a carry player, and Apollo gives you so much benefit in team fights and everything else. Apollo is a great carry to have in your god pool as a carry, but Apollo's aspect makes him a much more prominent support because you're going to be buffing the team around you. And even yesterday on the Smite Prime Twitch and Smite Game Twitch as well, we saw the Joust tournament, and we saw, I mean, there were probably 2 players, I think, that we saw on cast that really brought it to Paul, and that was BennyQ and another known Joust slammer named Attire, who played a aspect Apollo multiple times and just gave Paul some work to handle, right? Which was a shocker to me because this is agility relic tank Apollo, and Paul is getting a little bit of work dealt to him. I was like, we were shocked. All of us, Dilo and Muzi were there, and they were just like, what? Like, Attire? Where is this guy from? Right. I don't even know. So seeing this come out for Hydro could be a sleeper pick here. But I mean, if I'm thinking about maybe carry supports, that's really the only one I can think of.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, but it does. That feels so limiting. Especially, what I wonder is, while that was strong, and I'm with you, you talked about the Kepri for Hydra versus Hydrogen. That matchup could be kind of awkward. I feel like the Kepri could potentially answer a lot of what the Apollo could bring to support role, especially for the laning phase. And as we learned for game number 1, Hydra Jin is going to really rely on that laning phase being smooth sailing. If things get out of control, the mid and late game will look rough. But let's move over, as the first lock-in is going to be the Sobek. Let's talk about what else we could look to see and talk about the picks as they now get locked in, as we're back in lobby, with the Sobek being the most prioritized in the first lock-in from Kitsune.
So we talked about aggressive supports and how Hydra loves to utilize, though. Guan Yu usually played as, okay, I'm going to hug my backline, make sure they get refresh cooldowns and stay high on health. And that's really the name of the game for Guan Yu for most players when you utilize the aspect of the general. Hydra made that pick look extremely aggressive, hopping on the horse and riding his way into the backline multiple times to set up with that AoE stun and locking everybody down from there. And we saw the same thing last game from Hydra. Didn't work as well because the Ares fell behind, and when Ares is behind, he goes from a mini boss to a minion in, like a Koopa Trooper or something, right? Kind of a joke. But, whoa, wait a minute. This is a Ymir hover with the Sobek. Nah, is this a Remakami? Is this Remakami Ymir?
So, okay. I have 2 things I want to bring up. The first, I'd be remiss not to mention how old school Sobek, Ymir, Artemis top 3 lock-in feels. Give me a full Smite 1 alpha beta team, please. I beg. That'd be so sick to see here in Smite 2. Turtle Vanguard do answer with the Baron and the Huyi. I'm surprised we're just now seeing Baron. I feel like Baron has been such a talked about character in the last few weeks, or maybe I just talk to Musi too much and hear about Baron too much. But with the Ymir, the other thing I want to talk about is actually how much damage could go through. Because wait, where is the Ymir going? Because my goodness, is that a Ymir jungle? And could we see that one-shot Ymir with the death metal that's going around on social media for Solo Double J? I know that's a deep cut.
Dude.
I know it's not likely.
No.
But give me a 2,500 crit Ymir in a competitive game on Smite game, and I will give you the loudest my poor little voice can yell.
I know exactly what video you're talking about. Solo Double J cooking up the build, putting on some game to us comp players. This could be the move.
That'd be so funny.
I think
I hope so
BennyQ,
much.
Oh my god.
I mean,
where
if
is
you're gonna do it
everyone
right,
going?
week 1 OSL, that's the place to do it. I mean, every win is important. The standings matter in OSL. I highly recommend joining a Discord and kind of immersing yourself in that world, or checking out the Smite Comp website to get a better idea of the standings. But it is still week 1, and like any league, in any situation, any sport, any esport, the earlier on in the season, you have some wiggle room on what you can do. So we could see this Ymir just go a little crazy. Oh my goodness, I hope so. We'll have to see once we actually get in game and everything gets revealed on where it goes. But fingers are freaking crossed. But we have other things to talk about. There's other characters. I saw Princess Bari. There's a Vulcan or something. Of course, there's the Sung Wukong, which we've touched on as being a character people avoid, but we're real deep now thanks to the vault bans. There's a lot to work out.
And yeah, we've talked so much about the side of Kitsune here. What's going on with Eternal Vanguard? So this could be the Huyi jungle. We've seen that quite a bit. I mean, I don't know. The odds are pretty high there. Vyye is a big fan of the Baron pick in mid. I don't know.
Well, here we go. Let's go on to the battleground of the gods. Soon all will be revealed who's going where. Morton and I have our fingers crossed for a very particular pick. Oh boy, I am so hoping we get to see the BennyQ Ymir. Oh, that's my fingers crossed. As soon as we're on. I feel like you know when you're sitting in a movie theater and there's all the trailers coming through, and then some more trailers, and then the popcorn ad, and the phone ad, and then like one more movie theater ad that kind of baits you. I feel like I'm on that phase, waiting for the movie to start. I just hope it's a good movie and not something mid. You know, like that's where I'm waiting right now.
It's that Family Guy bit where he's like, oh, the movie's starting. Oh, no, it's another company that made the movie. Oh, it's another company that made the movie.
Yeah.
It's like just 20 companies that made the movie. You're like, Jesus Christ, when's the movie start?
We should have that up soon for you guys at home. ag- again, game number 3 here between Kitsune and Eternal Vanguard. So we'll have to see where a lot goes. There was the Sobek as well. Could that be a Sun Wukong jungle or support? I guess that also kind of mixes and matches. There's so much to get through.
Your guess is as good as mine, man. I know this is like my job to be like analytical and talk about who goes where, but like I don't have a clue, dude. Like this just looks crazy on both ends too. Like I don't know. I mean, I've seen the Medusa jungle. I've seen Bari jungle from Scream. I've seen like every god aside from Baron on the side of Eternal Vanguard could be a jungler here. I don't know.
Well, we should have that game up for you soon, assuming you still hear us at home. Thanks for hanging out while we try to get things kind of situated and onto your screen. And, you know, it's funny, as I talked about the trailers as a bit, but now I really am feeling that way. Now I'm even more pumped up. It's like the anticipation gets built up. And, yeah, so we'll have that soon for you as we get this worked out. If not, we'll hopefully be able to cut to a break. Mort, there's going to have our voices for the time being. So make sure you say good words. I know words have been hard today. Make sure you say good words.
Words are hard most days. Usually it's a lot easier. Here's the thing. This is why I love to do your job, Malum, because they give me words to use, you know, when I get to talk about what's going on. But here, I mean, you talk about what's going on, and then I have to come up with my own words, and that's hard. That is a hard job. I really do admire Musi for what he does. Same thing with Valve. Same thing with all the other Chair 2s out there, Jay Turner, that just make, you know, talking about stuff on the fly looks so smooth. My brain is running at like 100% capacity right now. I've got like 4 gigs of RAM up here, big dog, and all 4 gigs are just you know, all the time, and it's nothing.
Just nothing going.
Nothing. Not a lickety split of anything.
Well, we should be in soon. Not sure what's being seen. What looks like we might be back in and have things fixed up more. And as we're back in, we're 2 minutes in. No first blood miss, but most importantly, Mr. MortonMan, that is a BennyQ on the Ymir in the jungle, baby. We're saved. I'm so happy.
You are kidding me. Solo double J, our savior. It is crit Ymir. I don't know if it's crit, but it's Ymir in the jungle.
Stun, damage on, stopped as well. Hydra trying to escape, and he will get away. Shadow did rotate over, which, by the way, I know we're talking about the BennyQ, the Ymir, we want the funny haha build. Also get a Ho Yi jungle this game for Shadow.
There is so much to talk about here. There's Baron support with the Aspect still, even though only non-Aspect got buffed. Golden's utilizing Medusa here. We love that pick. Ho Yi jungle. You said it, and it is true. This is a wild pick to come through. Tito might be cornered.
Ooh, big Aegis, though. It doesn't seem like too much, but that little bit of damage we've seen so far already. A lot of tower dives from these teams throughout the day today, so that could have been dangerous. Pluck under the tower. It's good. No tower shot onto Hydrogen. Didn't quite cross that threshold. And with Tito falling lower, it seems like that pressure gained won't quite be there for Kitsune.
Yeah, the acid spray and then all the poke from Hydrogen is going to be so hard for Tito and Hydra to handle, especially when you don't really have heals, for Tito at least, right? I mean, Hydra can utilize Sickening Strike and hit the wave, heal himself up a little bit. That's decent sustain for sure. Nothing to complain about there. But Tito, you know, you're relying on health pots and a dream, right? You don't really have, you got a little bit of sustain through Death's Toll, but it's not as much as it used to be. It's just kind of meh. I don't know.
Whew. I got so hyped up and I got so excited. I feel like I can take a breath. And this is also the most we've been able to breathe early game. Not as much fighting in this game 3 so far.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, but what makes me think otherwise, like, you would think from a picks and bans perspective, or even now that we know where the gods are, this looks like a very aggressive start, right? It's going to be a little bit hard for Shadow to clear for a minute. Same thing with Benny. Well, I guess Ymir's got a pretty good clear. Wait a minute, is that the tech? It's not even just the crit. Oh, first
blood. And BennyQ's involved. No, BennyQ didn't get credit for anything. Excuse me. That was actually Duduin that fell. So the first blood kill goes to Vyye, aka Globe, and the Princess Bari hits the ground sprinting, Mort.
Okay, all right, Bari getting online. I mean, I can dig that. Vyye knows this Bari pick relatively well. It came out a little bit after Vegas. Remakami? What?
What's going on, guys? I just said it was calm. Everyone's making me out to be a fool. I can't sip my drink. Hydra can't walk away. Medusa ult answered by Sobek ult, but the spit, you can't escape that under the water, apparently. Lore is a little messy there, but a kill for the Medusa as Golden picks up Hydra. That makes it 2-1 so far, favoring Eternal Vanguard.
Okay, so Soul Lane favors Kitsune right now, but Vanguard is favored across the rest of the map. Shadow and BennyQ have just been farming away for the most part here, kind of utilizing whatever farm they can get their hands on. Tito going in and taking some camps away from Benny. I mean, Benny's able to take as many camps as he wants. You're able to clear so quickly. That's what I was going to go on about. You're able to clear so quickly with the Frostbite debuff, thanks to Ymir's entire kit. You can just move through the map. Your mobility isn't too high, but every camp you look at dies faster than probably any other god could take that camp down.
Moonlight descends. That means 6 minutes into the game. The last couple of games, every time that 6-minute threshold has been crossed, things have gotten a little bit wacky, to say the least, as these teams have liked to fight. Will that be the case this time? Hydrogen, of course, I imagine can play very aggressive so far, has gotten some advantage in this dual lane, has farm and pocket. Of course, going with that Lifeminder as well, you get some added play potential. The more and more we're talking about the Baron, I'm surprised it took until Game 3 to see it, especially for Hydrogen. I wonder if there was some metagaming trying to keep the Baron open for Game 3.
That is true. That is very true. I'm surprised, seeing the first pick from Hydra. I mean, we're following up with Hydrogen picking up Baron here. Beads utilized.
Lifeminder out, Vulcan on the flank. Yeah, you can see that Duduin's a little stuck. What a ricochet around the corner from Shadow. Duduin now took a lot of poke. The Medusa ult combined with the landing from Shadow will bring down Duduin, and all hell will break loose by the Gold Fury. BennyQ tries to hightail it out as the Ymir, but he's got nowhere to go, and Vyye will chase him down and handle business on the Frost Giant. To the Gold Fury will go Eternal Vanguard after a great fight in the jungle. Artemis is nearby, but no ultimate for Tito. You've got to do this the old-fashioned way, and Tito's going to go and gets caught with another ricochet. Are you serious, Shadow? Gold Fury still the focus. Hydra close. Gold Fury let go. It's at 500. Oh. It'll go back to Kitsune. Can they get it? Shadow with the ricochet. Can't steal it away. It goes down to Tito.
You're lying. They dropped it because of a little eensy-weensy bit of pressure from Remakami, and 3 bodies of Vanguard walked away from the gold, and Tito says, don't mind if I do, strolls in, grabs aggro, 500 health, throws some basics at that bad boy. Shadow says, oh crap, we just lost Gold Fury. It's like when you get out of your car, but you forget to put it in park, and it just starts driving away.
Does that happen to you a lot?
It did.
Double freeze! Vulcan ultimate! But Duduin sends it too far away. Vyye will get caught regardless, but a tough ultimate there. You would think that with the double freeze, that ult could have done a lot of work. Some damage put back into Hydrogen as the ice cream cone wall sets him apart. Ice cream sandwiches, sorry, wrong. Ice cream, I know that's important to some. Capture point is up. Garfield is forward. Hydra and Duduin with some poke. There's the Ho-Yi ultimate that will separate as the capture point still contested. If Eternal Vanguard can push Kitsune off, they've got a chance, but it's almost taken away. Hydra with the dash through. The pluck is no good. Has to ult to get away. The ultimate no good from LordGarfield. Not one execute can hit. What if you go old school and just start throwing abilities? That'll find you a double kill as Vyye will find Benny and Hydra. The Duduin will retreat. The Moonlight goes away, and a wild, wacky fight over the control point in the mid lane.
That was very wacky, right? There was a lot all over the place, and a lot invested into this control point when there really is what I think is a...
Oh! Styled on and put into Duduin's highlight reel. We'll see you in the montage, Vyye.
Duduin, grab the camera. Do it for the bit. Do it for the Kobe edit. Oh my god, that was sick. That was so sick. All right, back to my point. Hydra wants to keep going, I guess. Firebrands didn't even get picked up by Remakami. Hydra can probably grab them, though. That's probably the good idea here. Because Firebrand, honestly, I think that's a bigger objective than the control point in mid. Yeah, sure, it's a little bit of XP and a little bit of gold, so it helps your early snowball. But as far as permanent strength and intelligence, you get it from these Firebrands. BennyQ and Hydra have the right idea.
I love the wind sprites. They're so funny to watch. Characters like Sobek take. The first time I saw a Khepri take a wind sprite, I almost passed out laughing. I'm not gonna lie. The Wheeze was hidden full teapot, Tokyo Drift levels of Wheeze. So 10 minutes crosses, 4-6. The gold lead favors Kitsune, while the kill lead favors Eternal Vanguard. Athens Division being the highest division, naturally you look at gold and experience as more of an indicator of the pace of game. And that's kind of where things have been back and forth. We saw how quickly things can spiral in game 1 and as well as game 2. Kitsune notably had such strong fight back in game number 2, Mort. Hang on, gank in the mid lane, looking at the Vulcan from Shadow, goes in with the ultimate, has the ricochet as well, and Vyye will finish the job with a pop.
Meteor shower, good damage. Shadow looks really good on this Vyye jungle. I'm starting to think it's not even an oddity pick, right? I think people look at Vyye and they're like, he's a carry, right? He's a ranged character. But as a jungler, he offers multiple forms of hard crowd control. You've got good range damage as well. We're just floating around here. Just a big voodoo guy just floating around in the jungle there. Nothing to talk about there.
As you were saying.
Right. I was making a point there. Completely forgot it. Anyways, moving on. Next point here. Hydra is looking really good on this Sobek. He's utilizing this Yogi's necklace and able to not ever have to go back to base. That's one of the best parts about this Yogi's is that you're kind of just on the map at all times. Really, the only reason you ever go back is if you need to spend gold. And I guess Hydra's got a bit of gold here. He's heading back to base.
Just stepping away. All right, so we were kind of waiting to see where BennyQ would go with this Ymir. Speaking of the Ymir, he's the main character for the time being, a knock-up as well. The ultimate gonna hit, but the Lifebinder was there as well. Now a Vulcan ultimate that hits a Ghost of Crispus Pass up on the top of the Gold Fury pit, and away will go Hydrogen. Hydrogen just gets to walk away from that, but BennyQ going a little bit tankier here in the most recent item, so maybe not quite going for the silly haha build that you and I were hoping for, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a little weird to see this this tank build. I think we saw this from BennyQ in game 1, and it was, oh!
Down goes Hydra. Vyye with the kill. It feels like EV are just able to find so many little picks. It seems like they're making so much work out of the most minuscule opportunities.
Yeah, really, it doesn't seem like too much. But, Gold Fury's getting dropped?
It's so low, 200, 100 gone. Shadow with the kill credit on the Gold Fury. Now the attention on the Remakami, who tries to get the Ox form away. It'll work out. So while Remakami won't go down, the Gold Fury does get picked up by EV. So now the Gold lead will match their 4-kill lead, and the Gold Furies will be 1 apiece. And you can see the charts are really starting to fall down in favor of the red side of things. BennyQ stuck in between. The wall will separate and slow down to do an over the wall. The ultimate won't help out enough so far. Having to stand back a bit is Shadow, and that's enough damage lacking that BennyQ and Hydra can get to safety.
Okay, so things look a little bit better. Vanguard still in the lead. It might not be by too much, but Vanguard are in a lead. It's not really reflected in itemization as of yet, but it will start to get there over time. What I really think it is that so far, there's a lot of expensive items on the side of Vanguard right now. So that's why it might look, even considering everything right now, but that's just the way it goes. But what we were talking about earlier on is, BennyQ is going for this interesting tanky build rather than this, super damage solo double J crit build that just slams health bars. BennyQ is investing in being another frontliner, and I think that kind of adds up because we're looking at what Remakami's doing, and you'll see he's more of a spellcaster rather than a frontline bruiser, right? You utilize intelligence and you just get damage out through that, and you poke a lot with the stick. Poke, 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 poke.
Speaking of poke, 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 Tito just got poked real hard by the Medusa and will die in the left lane as action picks up in the mid lane. So a big 1v1 kill for Golden onto Tito. You can see the attention now onto Pyromancer. Will there be a big answer here from Kitsune? They've had a few rough fights in a row, so resources are running thinner. The Vulcan ult will land. Remakami up to the Somersault Cloud to try to buy some time, get some health back, and get away. But Pyromancer was dropped by the side of Eternal Vanguard. Now picked up again, but more members of Kitsune have arrived to potentially contest.
Pyromancer gets dropped altogether, mainly because there's a bigger dish coming out of the kitchen right here. It's the Queen Naga. It is about to spawn now. Here it is. The Queen Naga is available for the taking. And keep in mind that either team could just head straight that way, but instead we're investing in a fight in middle.
Hydra taking so much damage, has nowhere to go, but has backup from Duduin, and that will open the path for the Sobek to escape. So Duduin's had some good plays. It's mostly these ultimates that have been missing, but that's always the thing I mention with Vulcan, especially because it feels like I can be such a critic when I see Vulcan. Obviously, Duduin has had some amazing games, but with Vulcan, the ultimate is such a key factor to success with the character. If you're not finding value from it, it really hurts the overall feel and flow of what the character's bringing to the battlefield.
True. Still no take on the Queen Naga. I think we're just waiting on the right time, right? I mean, we've got ultimates, we've got resources on both sides. Hydra about to get his back. Vyye might have lost the Burial, but I mean, really everything else is online and available for the taking. But instead, we're settling on the Constellation prize, the second best, the silver medal, the Pyromancer. But oh my goodness, look at Hydra.
There's a wall, the freeze, the knockup to bring Hydrogen closer, but no way he gets away with that. Somehow he does, and responds to the Sobek ult with an ult of his own, and over the wall comes Shadow. There's the Vulcan ult. That one hits, and that's why they've got to hit. BennyQ follows up. Double, pop goes EV. Can you find one more? Bang, can you get the hit with the club after? One more auto will do it. There it is. Trips for Benny. What a fight back for Kitsune.
You know, this might be a weird tanky build that we're not used to seeing with Ymir jungles, but he is still slamming damage. 4-2 on the KDA chart, and I mean, he's just throwing out basics like nobody's business. Like 300 damage with the dagger passive also. He is cranking numbers. I mean, he's not that close to top damage. I thought he was gonna be closer. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like he is, like from our perspective, right? He's just been out of the game for a minute. He'll start moving around a little bit more, and he'll get up there. Trust me.
Finally, the Constellation prize. Such a good call from you. It does get taken down. Capture point up in mid. Hydrogen just kind of having a free-for-all. That must feel real good as a support to just sit there and take all that to yourself. That's a support's dream.
Yeah, that's literally the best situation that could ever happen for a support is like, all your carries, your mid laners will tell you, go find XP somewhere else. There it is.
Knock up, knock around, plucks 2. Now Sobek ult out looking for Hydrogen. Hydrogen continues to be the focus, but maybe shift your focus a little bit. Or not. It does work out. Vyye goes down. But it feels like every fight, Kitsune is looking at Hydrogen and he's getting away. But potentially it comes back this time and works out. Double stun, Vulcan ultimate. That's gonna pop! Shadow! From downtown he goes! The Duduin hits a big-time ult. Remakami leads the way. The pluck back, the stun, and soon, potentially a kill. But an ult from LordGarfield to escape for the time being. Benny trying to chase out, gets the wall. The tower will fall. The Duduin hits another fadeaway. LordGarfield will die. The mid-tier 1 with it. And just like that, the Duduin earns all the respect back.
Let me ask you this here, Malum. What were you doing at 4 a.m. today?
I was watching cooking videos.
You know what Duduin was doing? Duduin was on the court, free throw line, and throwing up balls, just maximizing percentage, getting his game in check, preparing for this moment. Duduin is in his bag. Sure, he had a couple air balls here and there, but every player misses every now and then, right? This is just something that happens. That is a wild Duduin in combat, throwing ultimates and cranking numbers. And now Gold Fury goes the way of Kitsune.
It's the Hou-Yi mindset. You miss every shot you don't take, but the Duduin now hitting the big ones when it was needed most. And with that Gold Fury, things are swinging the way of Kitsune, to say the least. I mean, not even 5 minutes ago, we were talking about a 3,000 gold lead for the side of Eternal Vanguard. It is completely swung now. It is completely favoring blue. It's jumped up for the blue side. And the boys in blue are making another play. Look at the damage to Vyye. The pluck to help lock it in and get the kill on the mid laner of Eternal Vanguard.
Okay, but can we find another? Hydrogen around the corner, but walks away instead, and making their way towards the Fire Giant. Pyromancer, probably the smarter call, a little bit easier to take, and a Pyro Bomb is nothing to complain about.
Pyro down to half, but it looks like there will be no answer, just a concession to allow the Pyromancer to exist. Look at the left lane. Could that be a bit of a play onto Tito? You see both Shadow and Golden looking for the gank potentially, but Tito has cleared some distance, so he'll be a-okay. And instead, a Fire Giant Polmort. And it looks
smart.
like none the wiser is Eternal Vanguard. The closest for the steal would be the Baron. Hydrogen will now see it, gets it within range for a steal attempt. The Fire Giant at half health. Now you've got the Achilles on the other side of the door. The door will open. 3K on fire. Hydrogen bounced around. Now Garfield in the pit. 1K on the fire. It will go down. Duduin will get the fire. Now the ultimate out from the Baron. The fight after the fact. Who's getting away? Hydra's not getting away, as EV are here to answer to look for it. But Duduin continues to do it and pops another one with the backfire. BennyQ trying to get through, get to Golden, get some damage on with Duduin. It'll work out. Now the dagger popped. Benny's back in action. Duduin still throwing haymakers, and Golden will fall. The stun on the Garfield. Duduin walks past the tanks as Garfield's got to retreat, and Kitsune are just doing the thing. They're putting in the work. They've got fire. They've got the picks. Garfield will fall too. That also goes to Duduin.
And the entirety of Vanguard left as bloodstains around the Fire Giant pit. Look at Tito going down the middle lane, no regrets, does not care. Where's my team? I could care less. Almost took down Shadow in the process. A sliver of health to his name, but around the corners, Hydra looking to stop the siege here.
Vyye will also look for a bit of a flank, but can't get to Q with Hydra nearby. The mid tier 2 will fall. So in could go the side of Kitsune. Not a lot slowing him down, but experienced team. They're going to take their time, back up to base, get the items purchased, and more. Things are all of a sudden looking rough for EV.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is not looking good for Vanguard. I think that Kitsune took that game 2 loss personally and said, all right, we need to lock in. Let's pull out some crazy picks. Sun Wukong, you don't ever see that in comp sets unless you're talking about Crete. Ymir Jungle, usually the same case, but I guess BennyQ's got other ideas. I know that he's been playing in tournaments recently that, I mean, even the Ymir Jungle has been banned away from him. So Duduin as well, really just utilize. Oh!
The spin around to bring back Hydra. Tusky's the answer. Of course, Medusa ult follows. A dash in. The damage is going to be spread quickly, but already it turns back on the Golden. He'll fall down to Tito. Now the attention goes to Hydrogen, who's plucked by Hydra. Tito looks for the answer back with damage. But look who's around the corner. It's Duduin. Can he get there in time? Not quite, but pluck's back online right about now. Hydra can go for the pluck to finish the job. He'll hold it. Needs the meatball. Down goes Hydra Jin. A great play for Kitsune in the left lane. Now Remakami looking to lock up Shadow. Can't quite get the full chase out, but Shadow's got to go. He'll get away. Now, Mort, I got to give some lore with Duduin here. I have talked so much smack and also given so many compliments to Duduin the last couple of years, and I am one where I like to think the caster curses happen to everybody. Usually mine are pretty loud, but they've always been the loudest with Duduin. Dude played mid and solo one time, and he picked up right after I talked smack. This game, I critical of a couple ultimates, and he won't stop popping off. And now into the Phoenix they go, Mort. What can Kitsune do?
I guess answer back with the air goes and execute. Fatal strike from Garfield. I mean, beads down. A lot's happening by the bird, but nobody's sieging it. Duduin gets a kill. Duduin gets another.
He won't stop. He's unstoppable, putting the correct term to the kill streak. Duduin stepping up. He's not afraid of nothing right now. Fire and meatballs, doing the damage, doing the damn thing. The pluck, Tito with a kill. The left Phoenix should fall. And Kitsune just look amazing in this game. It was close until it was not, but it was not with an exclamation point. And into the throne room, Kitsune go, looking to end this game and take the best of 3 before the clock hits 25 minutes, but bounce back. Garfield putting up a fight so far, not too many minions. Remakami gets the ultimate down on the LordGarfield. Titan not taking a lot of damage, but now Garfield's gonna die to Tito. Titan not to half health. Vyye up, now the respawns are here. Vyye out of the base damage on. Duduin gets one, but the double kill back from Shadow. The defense is good, and there's the divine from Duduin. As Remakami will also get the shutdown on the way out the door. But the big thing is, the most important thing is, for die for Kitsune. An eternal Vanguard, live on!
Bird form away. Remakami takes to the skies to escape as the final man standing for Kitsune. They got pretty good damage off on that Titan as well. I mean, considering there was a tier 2 up in right side, I don't know. That looked like a pretty risky call. It might have resulted their way in a different life. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell
It's
with
a repeat
everything
of game
happening.
one.
Well, almost, yeah. I
Not
feel like it was a
quite as
little more troll.
This one did
Yeah.
make me want to rip out my one gray hair.
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I knew you were taking it hard.
This game might give me more though, depending on how it goes. Because the scariest thing to me, Mort, is in game one we saw the same mistake, right? Kind of. It was way worse in game one, where Kitsune was about to win the game, 1,000 health I think away from winning. They fell apart, and it added time. But in that game, Eternal Vanguard was so much further behind than they are in this game. That could be a huge problem for the side of Kitsune, that EV's within striking distance. Oh, look at them go. They saw it. The gorilla ambush from the jungle. But can they find picks is the big thing. Remakami stuck in between, taking a lot of damage, but you see it go back on to Golden, who's got to retreat away. That'll cause a regroup, but look who got left behind. It's Hydrogen. Get that man an oxygen tank as he's stuck against the wall, but somehow in the backline, Duduin will fall to Vyye. That is a huge pickup. Then Vyye with the survivability, but it's shut down by BennyQ. That's going to be a 2-for-1 so far. Kitsune can win the game if they can get the wipe here. Eternal Vanguard are fighting for their lives here in week number 1. Garfield with the ult away, and Mort, it's off to the races.
Okay, W keying forward, still looking at one point or another, trying to get their hands on Eternal Vanguard. Look at Kitsune marching downfield, and they're going to approach this mid lane bird and look to take it out here. Hydra's got all the tankiness in the world and melting it down as Tito down the bird goes. Look how fast.
Left Phoenix not up yet. That means no healing for the Titan, so that thing is within very much death distance. Also, with the amount of time that Eternal Vanguard were out into the field, making the fight happen by the Pyro, that meant fire minions pushed up. So with all that pressure on a very low Titan, the chances to take this Fire Giant are going to be near nil for Eternal Vanguard. So Kitsune have all their win cons up on the board, Mort. They've got Fire up, they have an Ancient Fury if they want it. They're 1,000 gold from what we call uh-oh territory. The XP is exponential. So what on earth is Eternal Vanguard gonna do? I like when I ask that question and Chair 2s go, I don't know, dude, they do nothing. But Mort, what would you do? Put yourself in the shoes. Like, what's the game plan here? Is there one, or is it just fingers crossed?
I'm relying on the O-line. I'm sitting deep in the pocket, and I'm throwing for a Hail Mary here. That's all you can do is try and get this Fire Giant in your favor, because with Fire Giant built around the weights of Kitsune members, there's no way you win this game.
Baron ultimate to start things early. Shadow through the door, but Hydrogen has taken so much damage trying to start the play. The turret's on the Hydrogen too. Tito with the final hit, but a lot of poke has found the way at Kitsune. Vyye will ult to stay alive, but the up-down jump from Remakami thanks to the cloud will bring Vyye down to the back line. Now Golden's cut off from the rest of the squad. Shadow's there for help, and Golden will fall to BennyQ. Shadow trades out, gets the kill on BennyQ on the right. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, LordGarfield's been getting chased around. That leaves 2 members up. That's 4 alive for the side of Kitsune. That is a tough defense for anybody, especially with Hydra being able to keep LordGarfield from getting back to the base. It'll be up to Shadow to defend, and into the throne room, Kitsune go! Shadow's got to make a hero play. Tries to step forward, jumps up, goes in! What? Aura for Tito's head top, but Duduin's had the aura the whole game and shuts him down, but that bought some time. Hydrogen respawns, Garfield here for backup. Duduin with the ult, doesn't find a kill, no it does not. Garfield still fighting, Remakami stunned out. They will not end the game yet, Mort.
Okay, there is another life where Hydra keeps Garfield from going back to base, and that might have ended a little bit differently. Vyye was able to put on so much damage to everybody sieging from Kitsune because Garfield was there to soak up a little bit of Kitsune's damage. But if Hydra would have stayed next to Garfield and made sure, hey, you're not leaving this middle part of the map, and if you want to get back to your Titan, you're going to have to get through me. And with all of the charge praise Hydra can make happen before that point, I mean, that would have been a much easier siege for Kitsune. But unfortunately, didn't happen. It is what it is. These things happen. You call it how you see it. You know, we'll wait for next time, right? Hopefully that's a mistake and a lesson learned from Hydra to make sure, hey, you know, the less people that are in the base, the easier it is for your team to siege, right?
And how about Shadow? Jumping in for the defense because you know you can get the pick. A lot of times that would almost look dumb, but it made so much sense in that particular moment to slow down the onslaught. But there's no time to slow down. Fasten your seatbelts. The Fire Giant's up and Hydrogen's in the pit and has backup. You've already got the ultimate used. Now stuck in the middle is Remakami. He's going to have to ult early into the cloud. Garfield stands aggressive in the back line, trying to disrupt any plays from Kitsune, but they've stepped forward to find Hydrogen and Golden on the right-hand side. They might go down, but they fight back. Now the CC comes out. The Suns are breaking too. Execute range is there for Garfield, but it gets blocked out by Hydra, so nobody will go down for Kitsune quite yet. But now stuck in the middle of everything is Garfield. And enough damage falls, they can't chase anymore. But somehow, some way, Eternal Vanguard find the fight through it to push Kitsune back. The fire doesn't go down. They've bought time. They've cleared minions for a while, and the mid-Phoenix has respawned.
Okay, that's exactly what they wanted. Now there's a little more breathing room for Eternal Vanguard to step out of the base. They don't have to worry about minions marching down lanes. They can make their way towards Fire Giant. All 5 members of Vanguard collectively as a team with no split push pressure being applied and try and fight this Fire Giant. This makes me think the next fight might go Vanguard's way. We'll have to wait and see.
Mort, I'm having food after this game, and I don't think I'm going to have a voice at dinner. I've just got that vibe. One more fight could do it. Fire Giant at half health. Eternal Vanguard nearby. LordGarfield in the pit first this time. Hydrogen notably staying back and staying slow. BennyQ already some poke on. Remakami into the cloud. Fire Giant below half health. A pluck on to Garfield. The shields are coming out, but Garfield's low. He's got it back around. No backup near. Garfield's going to fall. Hydra with the last hit on it. Fire Giant now down to 2k health. Who can get the final hit? BennyQ low. Hides behind a wall for safety. Shadow jumps away early. No damage. Going to find the way of BennyQ. Hydrogen in the pit. The Fire Giant stuck at 2k health. Whoa, Hydrogen gets through the wall and gets away. Benny's been taking the fire. He's got to blink away to not die to the Fire Giant. Remakami will find a pick onto Vyye. The Fire Giant will fall down to Kitsune. Shadow with the jump through. He will live, if not barely. Hydrogen and Golden will both back to base. But can Shadow escape from Kitsune? The blink meatball! Later!
Later, alligator. 3 dead for Vanguard and counting on their last 2 limbs. Hydrogen and Golden and marching down a lane. 4 members of Kitsune with eyes on the prize. This game should be over in just a moment.
It's going to be 2 in the throne room. Medusa does have ultimate. Same thing for Hydrogen. Hydrogen will ult first, look to bring anybody in. There's the Medusa ult, but baby mistimed. And all of a sudden, the knockup is good, and Duduin's going to be the one to possibly end this game. The turret hits too hard, the meatballs are too perfect, and Kitsune is too strong, and they will win the best of 3. What a way to start your season, to assert your dominance and take it. The best of 3 goes to Kitsune, and Eternal Vanguard will go down.
Smite fans across the globe, welcome to Olympus Smite League. Talk about a banger of a best of 3 that went to 3, and every single game was solid. Heat from the stovetop. I mean, I could not have asked for a better start, dude. That was incredible from all 10 players. Honestly, a couple mistakes here and there, a couple things that both teams could work through. But keep in mind, this is the beginning of the season. This is week 1. We've got plenty of time to refine our player skill before the big leagues come around. So, I mean, we're just talking at this point, right? We're trying things out as a team. And for Kitsune, what we're trying seems to work.
Thanks for pulling up the stats on this one, Rosie. This is one that I feel like teams are going to be taking notes on for a bit. What a way to start out. I mean, first broadcast for Athens on Smite Game to start the season off, and you can't really ask for a better start, a better situation. What a game, Duduin in particular. I mean, how do you not talk about Duduin? The Fantasy Forge stocks on Duduin have got to go through the roof. I mean, come on. I know we kind of touched on everybody bouncing up and down with it. We talked about Vyye stocks a lot. Obviously, BennyQ stocks were there from the beginning, but Duduin with this Game 3 performance, what's most important to me more than the most notable thing, I think, is that it had to happen with the Vault bans. You didn't have many characters left in Duduin, not able necessarily to reach deep with a Vulcan. Vulcan's pretty good, but still to be able to have options like Vulcan and play to the proficiency that Duduin did, that was the most notable thing for me.
Yeah, dude, Duduin put on a clinic. I mean, Tito as well, marching down a lane. BennyQ, who moved into the jungle recently, really made use out of his jungle picks. Game 1's Nija looked a little rough, could use some tweaking there, but games 2 and 3 for Benny look great. Kitsune just have really high hopes going into the season, I'm sure. On the other hand, I mean, Vanguard has a couple things they need to work through. Shadow had a rough game 2 with the Hunbats pick. Hydrogen, I mean, was kind of all over the place with that one. He played as a backline, deep diving, aggro support, but really your Baron, that's just not as much Baron's play style. So, a couple refined tweaks here and there, but incredible games nonetheless.
Well, hey, that's our lovely faces, Morts especially, but that is our lovely day of games. Well, you said it, more. A banger way to introduce Smite Game to Olympus Smite League. That was the Athens Division. Make sure you join OSL, because while this season has just started and it's going to be a while before you can join up, it is worth it to get involved now, get to know the community, join some of the in-houses, and be ready for the next season. Unfortunately, the Spartacast will not be happening tonight, but every week there's different broadcasts, and every week on Athens you'll have us here and all the different Athens casters to bring you Athens action for the Olympus Smite League. Cash prize for this division, so it's going to be a long season and it's worth keeping checked up on. I've been Malum, he's been Mort. We have more Smite action on Smite Game tonight at 7 o'clock. You get some sewer games. Those are always fun to check out and stick around with. Mort, I think you're even involved in that tonight. I'm not entirely sure, but I think
That
you
I
are.
am.
You are even better. So you get to see more of Mort tonight and check out everything else that's going on in the community. Big thanks again to RedRosiePanda, as well as the mod team for today, and the players and you at home. Be safe until the next time we see you. Thanks for watching Olympus Smite League, and we'll see you next time.
Ready to go!